Hello everyone, my name is Anthony and I'm a friend of Roderick's and a friend of his channel. I invite you all tonight to join me on live channeling. I'm a reptilian channeler of an ancient race named KALASK and an ancient race named Theta Tauri. I invite you tonight to join us as I'm going to be explaining you the difference between Earth reptilians and off-planet reptilians, but also what is the real truth of shapeshifters versus just conspiracy theories. I'm going to be explaining the involvement of reptilians in our ancient past, ancient history, and the religious text. And I invite you all for live questions that you can ask yourself through me, as I will be in a channeled state, channeling a race named KALASK, and you can ask your own questions. I invite you all this evening, and I will see you soon.
Truth Seekers, it is Friday night. I want to welcome you here to Roderick Martin's Truth versus Authority. And like most cases, we try to bring conversations that will challenge the authorities and how they want us to see things so that we see things with the truth. And nothing be fitting more than tonight going down that area of truth when it comes down to the reptilian conspiracies that you hear. And so I've reached out to a dear friend of mine, and he is going to be here. In fact, he's already here, and we will get him into the show here momentarily. But in the meantime, you know, you're going to get some questions. You're going to get some things about what is happening with the reptilians, and then most importantly, we're going to do a live channeling session. And at that point, you will get some of your questions answered. And now, as difficult as it's going to be, we should have hundreds of people or hundreds of questions over time coming through, and charge it to my eyes and not my heart if I miss your question. This is not a grab, but again, you can highlight it. You know how you can highlight your questions so it can be seen, because it'll sit up in an arc thing by itself. But don't worry about that. I'm just saying to you, if it becomes necessary, that it is something you have to get an answer to. I'll scroll through the chat. My moderators are in live effect tonight. We are a place where people can come without any type of ridicule or anything. Y'all know that when we have our UFO people here. So my moderators, you are in full alert tonight. You have the ability to not only delete, block, or take some people out of the channel itself, whatever is necessary. And I hope that you all feel comfortable in doing just that this is our community and everyone else. But feel free to express your thoughts, your opinions, and everything else. We're just not being disrespectful, okay? So without that being said, I'm going to, again, bid you good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in those 24 time zones that this show airs. And so prepare yourself, because I'm going to bring in my guy here in the next 30 seconds. And, you know, he is an authentic reptilian channeler, and today he represents or connect with the race of KALASK and reptilian race. And again, this is real stuff, people. This is real stuff. So let's get him in here, and let me kind of tone down what we're doing here, and I'll say hello to a lot of you in here. And if you do have your questions, you know, keep them to yourself right now, because we're going to just talk a little bit before we get into the channeling session. So just kind of hold your questions, and then we'll get started from there. All right. So fair enough. Let me get him on stage here, and I have him here. Anthony, what's going on, my brother?
Hello, my brother. Greetings to your team, admins.
All right. Let me adjust your mic for a minute. Let me see if I can adjust it on my end here first.
Yeah, long time no see. Long time no see.
Yeah, we okay. All right. All right. Go ahead and say something now.
Yeah. Just greetings to you, my dear brother. Long time no see.
All right, got you set up good. All right, give me a mic check in the audience that y'all hear him okay. Give me some thumbs up, moderators, please. And if you did hear him speaking, all right, so you can go ahead and talk a little bit, not talk a little bit, but anyway, we're going to get there. I just want to make sure they can all hear you. So just say hello to the audience real quick. Moderators, I need y'all let me know y'all can hear.
Yeah, hopefully everyone can hear me. I mean, hopefully my mic is all right. I'm in my Florida house, so I'm not in my Canada house where I have the podcast set up that you and I spoken and talked a couple of years ago, but hopefully everybody can hear. First of all, greetings to everybody, the entire podcast. I watch your podcast. My friend watches your podcast. My mother watches your podcast. I think there's some friends in the audience now. So greetings to everybody, all different types of people. I love your shows, love your audience. I've been paying attention to your audience over the couple of years since you and I have spoken. And it's just fascinating the amount of information they've gathered, either on their own or through your episodes. Like, it's incredible. Your podcast, as well as Billy Carson's podcast, The Forbidden Network. So greetings to everybody there, and Billy and Elizabeth. Congratulations on the marriage. I was just told you guys are married. Awesome. So yeah, hello everybody.
All right, well, good. All right, so we're good to go. They can hear. Mic check is all good. Everyone is there. So what we're going to do is this. And yeah, you know, we have a backstory. You and I have been knowing each other quite some time. We created a great bond. In fact, you initially was teaching me a few things and how to really connect in some areas in my life and pretty much with different affirmations and things like that. And I don't think people really understand that what we're going to be talking about tonight is there's some truth in all of this, you know. And when you think about people that have the ability to channel, people that are clairvoyance and all of these things, these gifts. And I think that people don't really understand, Anthony, that a lot of these gifts are really is in everyone if you can find it or activate it and get out from under the control of the distractions that this life has been constructed of. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think first and foremost, it's important to say all of us are dimensionally limited. Everybody's dimensionally limited. Every single organic human. There's a lot of humans that are not organic, but a lot of us are dimensionally limited. Part of the deal coming here, you definitely, this is no joke, but definitely you don't remember where you come from. You have to learn languages. You have to learn words. You have to say, I want this, or mama, I'm hungry. One of the things what babies go through, they go through tremendous levels of pain the moment they're brought into this dimension. This is one of the reasons why they cry so severely. They're cut from their dimension. They're coming from fourth density. So it's very difficult being a human. I think that religions have lied over the years about many things, which we can talk about. And one of them is the invention of the word hell. This is hell. This, in my perspective, is hell. We have to deal with so many different problems, so much different bullshit, as well as resistances and problems and dissatisfactions, heartbreaks, wars, rapes, murders, genocides, unfairness, corruption, all these things that we face in the society. But again, we go back to the drawing board. We are disabled. Our telepathy is disabled. So if you want to channel or communicate, yeah, you've got to learn it from scratch from the very beginning. If you want to do it the right way, we can talk about that.
I know. And you know, I'm on probation, so we got to watch our words and stuff. We'll say unalived and stuff like that. So we got to take it all the way back to, you know, head karate, Bruce Lee signals and everything else. Because yeah, they got me on probation right now, and it's one of the reasons why now I do my uncensored content. But anyway, let's talk about you a little bit. Let's go with, you know, I know that I grew up in the Christian faith. And of course, with your accent and everything else, we can say it's Catholic. Faith will probably be the origin of that, being out of Europe and, you know, Europe area. Talk about your religious upbringing in Europe.
Yeah, so to summarize it, not to make it boring, I come from Europe. I'm a refugee to Canada from Europe. And okay. Now I'm in Florida. I'm blessed to be here. But coming from Europe, coming from Central Europe, it came from a mixed marriage of Orthodox Christians and Catholic Christians. So not just me, but everybody, every uncle, every aunt, grandparents. These are very strict Christians, very, very, very strict Catholics, very strict Christians. And with that comes significant levels of programming. And all due respect to anyone that's listening and disagrees with my word, I'm exercising my right to speak, and it's my free will to say so. Yeah, I came with a lot of that programming, that whatever you do, it's always judged by God. Whatever you do, it's a sin. You can't do this and that. And we were told straight up in Sunday school that God is a humanoid, human with long white hair, and he sits in a large golden chair. Unless he says so, you're not getting into heaven. So everything we were told always from a theory perspective, and coming into Canada and in the early 90s, and coming into that, and I will use the word radical religion type of country or society, where they're not Christians as far as Catholics or Orthodox. They have a variety of different divisions. Not to get into these divisions, but they are, in my opinion, the most fearful nation that exists. And I'm well traveled. You know that. You and I shared a lot of different things as far as traveling and tours and whatnot. And this is one of the reasons that really disgusted me to be in that society. I wanted freedom. I wanted people that were very open-minded like Americans. So I was building a goal and a dream and establishing businesses to come to the United States. And as far as religions are concerned, yeah, I came from that, and I think it's very ugly. And I'm glad that I peeled off those layers and started discovering spirituality and ancient civilizations, which put me on a path to rediscovering pyramids and rediscovering different portals and I would say ley lines or dragon lines across the world, and getting into the ancient civilizations and the real builders of these large, magnificent, and fascinating structures across Europe, large cathedrals, very large centers, because we know humans didn't build them. Of course, they didn't build them. So I wanted to know not just who built them, but I wanted to know with what technology. And this is eventually how I stumbled up across hidden text as far as religious text and revisions in the Bible and revisions in the ancient text to come across a very big conclusion, which was a large pill to swallow, and that's the existence of extraterrestrials. Oh, absolutely. We're the aliens. We're hybrids, actually. We're the aliens. But this is the religious path. I'm no longer religious. I know that there's a lot of people listening, or even my family back home, who practice religion wonderfully. And this is a good thing. This is great. Awesome. Good luck to them. But I share nothing with religious people. I'm a very courteous guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm a very nice guy. I employ a lot of people. But I share no excitements with them because we're so on a different wavelengths that there's no commonalities. There's nothing that we can agree or disagree. It would always be a conflict. Anytime I would propose to you something about the ancient civilizations, I am getting the chapters and quotations out of the Bible. So this is why I say it. My type of people, my type of folks that are truth seekers, such as yourself, your audience, my audience, individuals that pursue consciousness and that pursue discovery of extraterrestrial beings, as well as presence of them within the Earth's collective in our past and right now in this presence.
Okay, so let's go with, for a second, after you start your quest for knowledge, where did exactly, where was this transition? In other words, yeah, we all know when we start looking at the ancient civilizations or pyramid, or the ones that do, not we all know, that, hey, wait a minute, this is not a man-made structure, and we don't have no bulldozers or move no rock that size and cut it into precision this way and get it up there. And you can't hire some people to do that kind of work. What then led you more to say, wait a minute, this is, alien stuff, ET, let me now go down this path, because eventually it led to reptilians, and we'll get to that. But where was this epiphany to now say, and knowing of your religious faith at that time or upbringing was going to play havoc on that choice?
Well, the fact that I was religiously programmed and that religions lie constantly so much, and that they stand for control, imprisonment, division, and segregation, not to mention the tremendous levels of war that were done in our history due to religions, as well as burning alive humans. They would just call them witches, but no, they were psychically talented women. I started to sort of build this anger and build this resentment, but I didn't want the resentment within me to create resistances to eat away at my own energy. I wanted to be a stronger human and beat my own fears and beat my own resistances. And I worked with spiritual teachers, different variety of different spiritual teachers. So different individuals that have extremely loving energies and some that had absolutely no filters. And because of my own internal mechanism, the way I work, the way I gravitate to, I come from a military background as far as family is concerned, so I have extremely strong energy as far as the masculine energy and the alpha energy. I calm it down, obviously, but that is what I gravitate to. So I gravitated and shared a lot of my own personal stories with the teachers that have very strong energy, and I wanted to learn that strength from them. But the common denominator always came, like, when I would ask them, how did you obtain this information? And they would say either one of the two things. They would say, well, they had contact with reptilians, or they had contact with beings who were draconian in nature, and that these beings stood for tremendous levels of strength and power. But when I matched that with the evidence, as far as the research across our ancient civilizations, yeah, there's always the presence of the reptiles. I think the term lizard is more of a primitive term, but I think reptilians. And the more and more and more, I started to just almost say to myself, say, look, stop fighting, stop fighting this war. The reptilians are real, right? And then the very first thing that brought everything to a realization, and I'll speak with full transparency, in as far as this awakened state that we're in. So right now I'm sitting in my living room, you're sitting in your studio. I had an encounter with an extraterrestrial who was not a reptilian. They are from a race named Yahyel. Yahyel. They're the hybrids, the little Zeta Reticuli hybrids. And this was a 4-foot male. I talked about this from, I think, 2016 experience. And at that moment in the bedroom, I think that was, for me, the final check mark that extraterrestrials are very real, and telepathically said, I'm not here to harm you. He did help me somehow energetically through his third eye, somehow suspend my fears and shock. I got excited, I got emotional. I didn't, urinate or cry or anything, but I was very excited. And then he disappeared. This is what led me on a path of traveling to a lot of different expos and trade shows in the industry. And this is where I met other leaders. I've hired the best of the best. When I say the best, I truly have. I traveled to Portland, Oregon to meet James Gilliland. And I went to his ranch, SETI Ranch, and stayed there for the week. I hired Barbara Lamb, one of the greatest regressionists ever. And then I had several different dozens. So by dozen meaning 12, right? I had several different dozen of regressions over the years to understand my past lives. And guess what? They were all extraterrestrial. So I knew that obviously this isn't a coincidence. With learning more and more and more contact came. And that's the best way to put it. And the more contact came, all the contact was reptilian in nature. Majority of it, I would say for the most part, 90%. And at one point I just stopped and said, okay, they're not here to harm me. They're here to teach me. But because of my internal fears, I'm the one that pushes them away. So I didn't want to disrespect these beings, disrespect these entities and groups, and all the hard work they put in by visiting me in the fourth density state, so astral state, dream state, even placing silhouettes, even placing an actual avatar in my real life, talking, moving, blinking. I said, this is it. I'm going to enter that cave of darkness. I'm going to enter that cave of fear. I trust the process. I trust myself. I trust the decision that I'm making. I trust the other spiritual teachers. I trust the universe. I trust my soul. And there's no one that can trick my soul. And I did it, and this is the encounters with reptilians became very real. I'm talking about physical experiences. Yes.
Wow. Okay, hang on. I was trying to set up this closed caption in the settings here. It looked like I have to do it in the beginning. But Batty, I got you on the next stream. We'll make sure we're able to set our closed capturing up. All right, so we got a few more, some more conversation, y'all, before we get him to allow us to witness the actual channeling. And so, make sure y'all stick around for that, of course. If you got to go do something right now, don't go. But anyway, let's start with, and first of all, Barbara Lamb is a dear friend of mine, and we've done plenty of regressions with people in my audience with her, and she's one of the best. She hadn't done a lot lately, but other than that, she is one of the best. And I've always referred everyone that I know to her when they need to get these regressions. Let's talk about number one, what do you want to say to, or what do you say to people that when they hear, he's a channeler, and they want to go, what, is he nuts? Is it crazy? There's nothing else here but us. There is no other side. There's no one else to talk to. There's no one watching us who sees us. Oh, there's no one standing here. I just can't see him because of the vibration. What would you say if you were standing in a crowd in front of not only religious folks, non-believers, non-truth seekers, the people who talked bad about us years ago before the government said aliens are real or UFOs are real. What would you say to those people now that you look back on this? Or we may have people in the audience now that just can't grasp what's going to happen later.
To be honest with you, I don't really debate or question or argue or ever disrespect. I'm not a disrespectful guy. I have very strong energy, but I maintain it and I control it. I believe that the calmness is the power, and professionalism is my way, and diplomacy of doing all things in the channeling industry, but also in business. I've been in business for a long time, and you know that, of course. So as far as debating somebody, whether God is real or not, whether Jesus is real, whether he was crucified or not, or whether aliens exist or not, I don't think there's no need to debate, because we don't really have the time to debate. I don't want to waste my energy. I don't want to waste their energy. There's no need to have conflict, which I believe that we can use common elements and common ground to create unities. Reptilian species are so powerful, so immensely powerful. Also, at the same time, they're so unified. And I believe in creating bridges with human beings and not divisions where I'm saying, for example, oh, you channel a Pleiadian, but I channel Reptilian, I'm better than you. Or you speak to God, Jesus, or Allah, or Buddha, or Moses, or Mary. Well, guess what? They didn't exist, or they did exist. Who am I to judge what makes you feel right? And who am I to judge that makes you feel satisfied? So I would say that I respect your division in the faith. I respect you fall into the faith that you're following, or not believing in extraterrestrials, but at the same time, don't step on my shoes. And if you do, then you will hear the words, and these words will most likely dig very deep and cut very deep. So it's best that we have a very diplomatic and professional conversation if we cannot agree. I think that people would be extremely either ignorant or arrogant or both if they were to say that nothing else besides our tiny little blue planet exists amongst all of the solar systems, all of the galaxies, all of the universes, all of the constellations, that it's all just dead air. So you either are getting your information from Google, or you're getting your information from experts and researchers, or most importantly, and I think the most suggested, is to have your own experiences. But you have to have an open mind to do that, and that's exactly what I did. I think also I can use analogy if I can, to take, being in Florida, obviously we're surrounded by oceans. Imagine you go to an ocean in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, and you take a spoon with you that you make coffee with in your kitchen, and then you step into the ocean up to your knee level, you grab a little bit of water in that spoon, and you look at that water in the spoon while you're in the ocean, you say, oh yeah, definitely, I don't see any sharks here. Yeah, there's no other sharks anywhere in any other ocean. So I think it's very ignorant and closed-minded for anyone to feel that nothing else exists. This is the best way that I can.
All right, so moderators, y'all make sure y'all monitor that chat. There's a couple of things came through that should not even come close to our screen tonight, and they're not, not directed at him, but it just really. So scroll back and y'all kill that conversation or the chat of that individuals, please. All right, so let's make sure that we give people a true understanding. Meeting reptilians. I mean, let's go with the who, when, where, how many of them, what, who, is it more than just one? Because when I studied at one point, there was the winged ones, the one who's in charge, the royals. Then you have, just like everyone else, is there a common hierarchy? Is there benevolent ones? Is there a more than one race? Of course, we know that because, at this point. So just kind of give me your journey on this with reptilians.
Yes, I'll do that. Absolutely. I just want to comment a couple of things about the comments, because I can go through the comments. A few people have said, prove it, and so forth. And this is one of the common questions that most channelers will get, prove it. So we cannot prove anything in relation to this, because these beings don't come from our dimension. And when you start getting into understanding of what are densities and dimensions, and when you can do that, then we can have a conversation to be able to grasp. So I can't tell you that I can prove it to you, because these beings don't live in our dimension. They don't live in Germany or Canada or United States. They don't live in some caves. They don't live in some underground tunnels, which is one of the largest conspiracy theories. These beings are a completely different location. They're either interdimensional, meaning they can immediately show up here. They don't need to travel, or they're physical somewhere on Mars or Jupiter or Venus. And because of the fact of the universal laws, and because of our own free will that we've agreed to, we don't want any interferences. Long time ago, when a lot of different contracts and agreements with creation of humans was placed, the rules is they don't come here and we don't go over there. This is something. Right. This is something, of course, that it can be seen this way. What is one of the reasons that extraterrestrials don't want to come here? What is the very same reason why none of us will be in our cars on freeways and highways and randomly get off somewhere on the side of the road, get out of our car, crawl on our knees, and go with our fingers and scroll through the grass and the dirt and the filth and look for an ant to tell that ant in loud English what is a solar system or what is an ozone layer, because they don't speak English. So a lot of the beings don't want to talk to us. And a lot of the beings were told by the true custodians of Earth never to interfere. So I just wanted to mention that. As far as reptilians are concerned, as there is so many variations, so many different groups, so many different alliances and federations and groups and equilibriums, as well as just semi-reptilian, where they have hybridized DNA from another group. It could be a feline race mixing with a reptilian race. It could be an insectoid race mixing with a reptilian race. But I can break it down for you in my way. I can answer any question. I'm very confident personally to answer. I would say I welcome any reptilian question or alpha draconian related question. I think it's probably best you can ask KALASK that to break down for you the hierarchy system of the draconian beings versus beings that are within our galaxy or the solar system or in the universe, but also who are these Earth reptilians. I think probably you'll get a different answer from them than mine. Mine would be just too long because I'm an educator in a way, so I'd like to inform as much as I can. But there's different groups, different ranks. They're different as far as malevolence, which is bad, obviously bad guys. They have different percentages. Benevolence, they have different percentages. So if the being is benevolent, in English, that would mean very positive. Then I will counter that. And I say, Roderick, there's no such thing as positive. There's no such thing as a loving humanoid. There's no such thing as a loving insectoid. There's no such thing as a loving reptilian. There's no such thing as a loving human. We all have darkness. We all have evil tendencies. A human can walk into a McDonald's and just because his fries are cold, he'll pull out his gun and kill 18 people. And they'll go home and pet his baby on the head and kiss his wife on the forehead. So this is the type of humans that we are. We'll behead somebody alive and say it's in the name of God. We'll rape someone because they said no when we asked them, hey, can I have your phone number to take you out? So humans are very dark. I don't think that we can be called loving. And I don't think reptilians or extraterrestrials can be just labeled as one orientation. Oh, you are loving. No, none of them are loving. They're all neutral. Now, when you look at neutrality and you bumping it up to malevolence, okay, there's orientations there. So there's reptilians that are extremely parasitic. There's humanoids that are extremely parasitic. There's humanoids literally looks just like us, and all they do is abduct humans every day. You know why? Because they know that human beings, when we go to bedtime, sleep state, so dream state, that we really trust these humanoids. So they know we're falling for the trick. And then there's reptilians that don't do that. And there's reptilians when they try to intervene and help a human. We see that as an attack, but it's not an attack. So there's a variety of different orientations as far as energy is concerned. There's a lot of hybrid groups, pure blood, the royal lines, which you've said, that's more of a KALASK question. But if you're asking me, yes, that's the top of the entirety of the Alpha Draconian Empire. Yes. And KALASK's DNA is of the royalty line, even though they're not some, managers and bosses, as we would say here, like a CEO at a corporation. These guys they're like a war race. They maintain shit in the galaxy. So
then it will be a KALASK question of mine when the time comes.
Yeah, it will be. It's gonna take longer.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. And feel free, some of you, if you have, you actually can have two questions. I'll put them up on the screen when I deem, we'll put the question. But again, and then there will be some questions you all can have during the channeling session. if it's just something you want your question highlight out of respect, if that's what you do, you can super chat it, and then we can see it, because it's on my end. It's scrolling pretty quick. I just want y'all to know you might say something.
Yeah, there's some great comments here.
Yeah, we'll get to them. Well, yeah, they're just talking.
Nurse Kim, she's absolutely right. She says we probably interact with them all the time and just don't know it. You're absolutely right, Kim. We don't know it. We don't remember it because they don't want to cause you trauma.
Yeah,
we interact with them regularly in the astral state. Fascinating answer. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me ask you a little bit about shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Kind of, there's myth when it comes down to shapeshifters. Can they do it? Is that happening? Let's just start there.
Yeah, so shapeshifting, I'd like to give you my perspective, my human perspective based on my experiences. So that way you can kind of know my answer, my own answer, with my free will, not that some reptilian told me or try to hid it from me or try to sort of over exaggerate. I'll give you my answer because my answers are to the point, really. Shapeshifting is a term that's invented in the spiritual community, in the communities of ufology, and communities that have to do with spirituality or extraterrestrial contact. I would say shifting dimensions or utilizing technology to shift would probably be a better way to explain it. So can a reptilian that lives here on Earth, which they do, there's a population of just over 800 million Earth reptilians, can they shapeshift into some unknown human? Yeah, of course they can. Do they do it? Yes, they do. But very, very, very rarely. They don't shapeshift in a way, and it's very important. They don't shapeshift in a way where if a physical being, so a physical Earth reptilian was to stand there, and now their skin stretches, actual literal skin stretching, where somehow magically they become a Roderick Martin. No, that's not what happens. That's not what happens. They use an insert. They would use avatar. They would use projections. They would use holograms. They would use screens. All these different terms on this explaining is where they're able to be anyone that they want to be. And us humans here in this dimension would perceive that what they want us to perceive. If they want to be Kobe Bryant, if they want to be Tupac, if they want to be Prince or Michael Jackson, believe me, they'll be an actual physical Michael Jackson. If they want to be a car parked next to your car, you will not know the difference. You will hit both cars and the metal sound will come when you hit it with your knuckles. So when they shift into something, they can shift and become that something for the purposes of fooling us in a way. But do they do it? No, because they have technology that is much greater, much stronger in order for them to shift into anything. If you really look at this from a multidimensional aspect, most of the reptilians off planet, not on Earth, will tell you, no, we don't. What do we need to shapeshift for? We're living our world as you live in your own world. We are us because we're proud to be us. The shifting and the shape-shifting ties into the aspect of conspiracy theories for a large part, but for the small part, can it be done? Yes. Is it done? 99.9999999% of the time? No, it's not done. It's just that what humans fear. And when you dislike a president, you'll say he's a shapeshifter. When you dislike Pope, when you dislike a religious leader or an actor or an actress, you'll say, oh, look, they shapeshift. But because when we're watching it on television, the analog to digital conversion or shitty little videos on Facebook or Instagram with the implementation of revisions and editing, yeah, any video can be turned into a Barack Obama turning into a reptilian, which is not true, of course. So the shapeshifting is just overblown concept.
All right, but it is possible that you were seeing. Okay.
And absolutely. I have seen a real reptilian shapeshifter. I can explain that entire experience. Can they? Absolutely can. Just as well can an orb you see in the sky or a light you see in the sky shape shift into a passenger plane or shape shift into a bird, an actual second density animal. Absolutely, it can, and it's done all the time.
Okay, so that takes us to, now we're going down the whole of holographic things, or I always talk about truth versus authority, and most people, when they hear me say, they think that when I talk about authority, I'm always talking about people that we could perceive as authority that don't tell the truth, and we can't believe everything they says. That is my baseline. But really and truly, I think authority that we really gotta really harness is our minds. And just because you see it and you just said it, don't mean to believe it, because if they can alter the mind, almost you just said in inanimate animate objects, like Transformers. Hey, I'm gonna turn into this car, like Optimus Prime, and now we roll it. But it's almost now, because I was doing some research, and just correct me, that it was taking me back all the way back to not only just the Nephilims, it was taking me all the way back to before that, and the story, and it's going to be a question I have for KALASK as well. So, the origin of this humans, of course, we were already here. There was some type of ape or Neanderthal or whatever you want to call a man. And then, of course, our DNAs was altered over time, plenty times. So my question, or what I'm trying to say, would be, I was reading that at some point that we could possibly have, all of us, our reptilian origins. And because of the actual look of one and our eyes setting up on it, that it will not let us comprehend what we are looking at as though it's apprehensible. It's just so much trauma on us. Therefore, there was a scheme or plan to then alter our viewpoint of this particular God at that time, or how they received it, that we got to make this invisible. We got to don't look for it. Don't research it. Because you cannot look at me. Even when Moses was asking, can I see you? And God itself said on the mountain, you can't see me, because all those that see me are unalived, And I'm just trying to round this in. What are your conversations about that? That the reason we don't see them is because we couldn't handle seeing them. And so therefore it's in our best interest not to see them. And although they stay hidden, and where am I going with that, if I'm going anywhere? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you should just summarize that in a single, to the point, very blunt and raw question, and ask KALASK that question.
Okay.
They'll be able to answer that, what they feel. Most likely they'll disagree with you on the Moses part and the experiencing the bush, because that story never happened. But sure, you can ask them that question. Why can't you see them? Can they see you if you can't see them and stuff? I would just say summarize it. One of the things in relation to KALASK, this race, this is an Alpha Draconian race. This is an ancient reptilian race, and they are of extraordinarily high soul evolution. So when you look at physicality, physical incarnations, these guys sit at the very edge. That's 6.9999 density. What this means, that literally they can die tomorrow if they wanted. And if they did that, obviously they'd go back to the source of all creation. They choose not to. They just choose to be where they're at. They choose to be physical. So they have a lot of wisdom. They have a lot of understanding. With my limited English, because I'm not so fluent with English, sometimes you may see they're asking you to repeat a question in a different way, where you're using another word. So if that happens, please bear with them. And also, my advice is to be very to the point and don't interrupt where they're speaking. They get very angry with that. I try to manage the energy, and you'll see a little later, it's different persona that happens. And I understand that visually this may appear, as some humans that are religious will say, well, this is a demon inside. I'm not going to assure you I have tremendous levels of love in my heart. And I was growing up in such a loving family, and I have a large, beautiful family. There's not an ounce of demons within me, and I can educate anyone in the audience what truly is a demon. In relation to just a few questions, to pay the respect to your audience member, if you don't mind, I'll just take a couple of minutes to address a few of these things, which I think are important. One of the questions that I was asked is that, as far as KALASK race or draconian beings, are they part of the Galactic Federation? They're not. They're part of no federations. They have their own alliances and groups, or I would say a large group of reptilian races that they're part of. And if this viewer is referring to concepts that they heard of, or Galactic Federation of Light, that does not exist in any way. That's a fairy tale. That just exists on the internet. As far as a couple of other questions, a person here was asking, is the Galactic Federation real, which was by Diane Rosier? No, it is not real. That's a concept that exists within the Earth's collective. Other questions, do reptilian groups associate with, again, Galactic Federation, asked by Dr. Strange do? No, they do not, because there's no GFL. There's a lot of different questions that are just small comments, but I think when the shape-shifting aspect we talked about earlier, a question came up and a person says, when you're watching television, can you see the shape-shifting glitch? By Chad Henry. No, you cannot see the shifting because remember, they're coming from another density right here on Earth. So it would be like you walking in a forest and you can see a tree, but that's not a tree. It's one of them shifting into a tree to either spy on you, to see what you're thinking, what are you doing, or to just observe you. You could be an incarnation from that race and you don't know about it. So just wanted to address a few things.
So would that tree just pop up out of nowhere? You go, damn, there wasn't no tree there before.
A few ways they can give you definitely signs. So you can pass by a tree that is in a long lineup of different trees, and one of the trees will be waving so uncontrollably, but no other ones. And you'll question, how come there's wind blowing just one, but not 20 around? That can be a sign of a small level of synchronicity and a sign to see, will you be scared? Eventually telepathy starts. As far as the tree, that was just one comment, but they can also just simply, you are sitting and meditating. You could be meditating, and instead of appearing, they'll just talk to you telepathically and say, hey, Roderick, we're not here to scare you, but my name is so-and-so, and you come from our incarnation. You come from another dimension. So there's a different ways that they approach humans. Definitely different approach, which I would say is very light, it's very caring, and it's very subtle, so that it doesn't frighten the human. The other question here, a gentleman has asked, if there's 800 million population of Earth reptilians, how come none of us see them? Again, this goes back to dimensions. Dimensions. They live in their own dimension here on Earth. And this isn't the first time that we see one planet occupying different densities. This isn't the first time we see one planet occupying different species. If you look at elemental consciousness, which is non-physical, if you look at insectoids, physical beings, mantis, physical beings, Sasquatch, or humans will say Bigfoot, true traditional name, if you look at the electric origin, is Sataskaid. They all exist here. And we all exist. It's just that us humans are quite violent and immature to exist among such immature beings. I think you have a question by Rashad Bell here.
Yeah, he has a statement there, and he super chatted, so they get president over it all. So yeah, let's
Great question. Rashad, the snake represents wisdom. Their snake was never a second density animal. What I mean by second density, all animals are second density animals. As far as was that a snake speaking to Eve? No, this is absolutely 1,000,000% incorrect. And it's a intentional lie inserted by the religions, those that revise the Bible and the text and the ancient text. Adam and Eve were not the first humans. The representation of rib cutting, no, those are alterations and genetic extractions and revisions by the Anunnakis. And Anunnaki is not an ancient actual term, but we know it as Anunnakis. Yeah, so the snake part, that just means they dealt with Earth reptilians. At that time, Earth reptilians and human beings, so us humans, were really good close friends. They had a wonderful relationship. But it's the Anunnaki, and through their manipulation, they divided humans and our true brothers and sisters, and those are the reptilians. Hence, we live in different densities now. And even draconian beings gave up on us, and took the reptilian side. So,
all right. So what I'm going to do, my friend, is I'm going to go through some of these questions. I'm going to put them up on the screen. We're going to rapid fire because we're going to move into this channeling in a little bit. Because I'm excited. I got some questions for I got some questions. But here's what I'm asking. I need a favor from you. And I know it's getting ready to put you on the spot, but I need to know next week, I want to do an uncensored type session for my members, because I see a lot of them having questions and they support the uncensored area of Patreon. And I just want to know, because if we can kind of do we're going to do what we do here, but if you got time next week, maybe a Thursday or something, and I'll schedule it with you and I'm putting you on the spot. But the whole point is, I don't have a lot of them, so then that way we can do some real uncensored and answer some crazy questions, because some of them may have some real stuff, and I do too, that I will not say here on this air. And then maybe channel KALASK again, and we can do that in that area. If that's something you'll be down with.
Yeah, you and I are friends. Your channel is friend of my channel. Absolutely, a lot of your audience is my audience, and vice versa. So I'm more than willing to hang out with you and talk to you. You know, I don't get on shows and do shows. I'm an underground. I'm an underground guy, and I do a lot of my stuff.
I know. I thought this would be perfect. So
it's fine. We can come and speak on other things. There's like if you ask me questions about shape-shifting and then topics related to that, or where certain humans go missing on Earth, yes, we can get into a lot of different. If this is true, then we can get into a lot of those conversations, as well as what is the number one group of ETs.
We're gonna write that down. And
this is true, right? Yeah, we can get into that.
I'm excited that
they can come through at any time. I generally need about 20 minutes. I just want to explain that to the audience for a moment, if you don't mind, how that works. So the best way to put it to you when it comes to channeling and the data transfer and absorbing energy that's unknown to your own human consciousness within you and the soul that is within you, the percentage of your soul that's within you. So we have about 15 to 18% of our soul within us, inside of us. It's called lower fractal consciousness. The rest is in higher dimensional states. And within the lower fractal consciousness that's within me, that's divided now into dozens of different layers, independent soul layers. And the 3 layers that are responsible for channeling, which is called fourth density layer, psychic network layer, and telepathic communication layer. So all of these things I need to integrate in me. What does that mean? That really means, and I'm explaining it because I want to really respect your audience. I want them to really know, so they're not getting bullshitted on the internet tomorrow by some people selling them channeling courses, on a Saturday between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. So what happens is when you get in a deep meditative state by doing extremely deep breathing, you are actually through your crown integrating, bringing in the energy and the consciousness in a form of a boost. And as that goes through my crown, it goes to the back of my neck and it goes down my spinal fluid. And it activates my chakras, not in a Kundalini effect, but it activates it. But what it does is syncs the audio and the video in my third eye. It opens up my crown and allow the energy of any guide I have to come through. So that is generally the process. The process with Draconians or Reptilians, it's extremely uncomfortable and it's very intense. And it feels like you are being electrocuted by electricity. Sometimes as children, we might have put our fingers in an outlet. Yeah, that's what I feel like in my insides. And does it get hot on the inside? Yeah, I feel like I'm sweating. I feel like I need to take the shirt off, or like the heat is too hot in the room, because the consciousness of a being that's not human is entering through the multidimensional layer of my higher self, aka soul, to enter my crown, enter my vortex points, aka chakras, and then they regulate my heat. They regulate my peeing or pooping or being thirsty or scratching my face. I don't drink water because I'm not aware of what they're doing. So I'd have to tell them, say, look, I'm thirsty. And then they'll say, okay, I better drink some water. So that takes time. And because that takes time, the integration process, generally for me, because it's such a large consciousness at 6.9 density, it takes about 20 minutes. So when we go into channeling, if you can give me about 6 minutes, if that'd be all right with you, if you can take me off air, please, I'd like to have privacy. And then in 6 minutes, just bring me back, and then you'll see me doing some dragon breath. And that's very forceful air breathing to exit my body and for the KALASK to enter my body. And then once they start addressing you, then you'll know they're here.
Man, that's scary. That's almost like your heart is just like boom, 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 boom.
Well, it is. It's very ironic that you said that. I'll add this to a lot of the audience members that perhaps will not agree with channeling. And I understand you. Believe me, I understand this audience member, because I was that guy one time in my path. I'll answer this. Is this vampirism? It's not, because I am aware who I'm bringing into my body. Mm-hmm. And over the course of years of dealing with reptilians in my days of channeling Theta Tauri race, This is really how I started. I started channeling a race of white reptilians named Theta Tauri. And then they introduced me to KALASK. That's how I met KALASK. So this experience has shown me, proven example, that these beings, once you show them respect, and once you show them appreciation, and you recognize their hierarchy placement, they will certainly never harm you. And for the most part, they don't harm humans. It's just that the shapeshifters in the astral state that are humanoid, that are deceased humans, that are parasitic beings, they shapeshift into a reptilian to scare you so that you can give them your fear energy. It's not reptilians. It's not in their genetic code to just constantly interfere with humans. But as far as vampirism, I just mentioned that it's not, not being possessed by demons, obviously not. There's no such thing as a devil, demon. These are made-up terms. I can give you a history on those two terms if you would like it, going back past ancient civilizations. Or you can ask KALASK what's a demon, and they can tell you. But these are actual physical beings, and they just look scary. Yeah, menacing, sure, but I hold no discrimination, no racism towards them, just like I don't want to be discriminated by them calling me a dumb monkey, stupid pig, this, that. No, they've never mocked me or my friends and family or clients. And I don't believe in mocking any extraterrestrials. And in fact, lastly, I think we all should get off of a high horse and perhaps, wipe that stupid look off of our face and perhaps listen to what all of the extraterrestrials in the channeling industry are telling us so that we can learn and evolve instead of just being ignorant monkeys and just being very arrogant and have pretentiousness. Instead of we can have wisdom and not pretentiousness. That's my motto.
Well, you know what? It's a good one. And what I'm going to do is I'll take us up to the top of the hour. And like I said, I'll pick a few questions that some people have, and then we'll get you off to your meditative state, if that's fair enough. Before we do that too, I'm into symbolism. I filed a trademark, the symbolizer. That is my goal this year, is to open the world up to symbols, ancient symbols. And I've created my own, and for protection, had it activated. It works. I don't try to push, and I let people try to know, hey, we got our own gear, and it's protection. I don't think people know that we need protection. But reason why I'm going with this is I see that you're wearing the KALASK symbol, or explain that to us. And because as they don't know, these are ancient messages all within one symbol sitting here.
So symbolism, we know it from our own perspective as learning occult, learning religions, synchronicities of numbers, and all these things. Let's exclude that now. When it comes to, and I'll give you a real raw answer that any reasonable and fair or truthful reptilian will tell you, is that when it comes to us humans in the astral state, when it comes to us lingering, going into different areas of galaxy or the universe that we're not supposed to go to, sometimes we get lost and we get attacked and so forth. So when you're dealing with an extraterrestrial race of reptilians, and I cannot speak on humanoids, I can speak about reptilians. One of the things they do through a long term of building that rapport, building that friendship, building that bond, building the trust bonds, and seeing your energy, they give you what's called a signature. It's added to your aura field. And this means it's an energetic imprint, and the energetic imprint is added to your energy. So this means that when you're next time lingering in the astral state, anywhere, or meditative state or channeling, there's not going to be any entity intentionally attacking. They'll see the symbol. As far as the logo on the clothing, first of all, I have several different clothing products that are sold on the website. The www.kalask.ca is my website. We have shirts like this, golf shirts, we have sweatshirts, we have even hats such as like these. So a lot of my clients, they probably wear this, and I agree with that. They should, to have something on that you're very proud of course. They KALASK beings, they don't care about having symbols on different beings. I mean, we're not slaves to them. But I wear it proudly because this is the symbol of their race. This is the color of their own race, which is red. And there is an entire story of what this symbol means. But if you ask me, means their own proudness, their own survival over the years and years of fighting wars and being attacked constantly because they have teeth and tails, due to discrimination by other races. So this is what that symbol means as far as protection. Yeah, the protection aspect is a different subject. So most religious people or spiritual people, and this is of no disrespect in any way, they'll say, I'll call an angel, I'll call archangel, I'll call Jesus or Muhammad and these things. But very respectfully, I say this doesn't work. This will never work. This doesn't work in any way. And I'm going to tell you why. It doesn't work because of this. A lot of the beings that come and play down in the astral state are dropping down their dimension. They're dropping down a vibration. They're fifth, sixth density beings. They're very powerful beings. You think they're going to care about you saying the word Jesus? Or you think they're going to care because you're saying Archangel Uriel? No, they're not going to care about that. They're going to attack you. They're going to take your genetic extraction or frighten you and then feed off of you like a battery. So those kind of protections don't work. There are several different protections you can do. As far as visualizations are concerned, oh yeah, absolutely. That's extremely powerful because you are utilizing the power of your soul's help. Your soul should be your number one friend. Yeah, we have God, we have gods, we have spirits, we have angels. Sure. Your soul is you, and you are your soul. Soul is everything. So we shouldn't be worshiping extraterrestrials. We shouldn't be worshiping religious prophets or deities. We should be building a relationship with our souls. They protect you. So that's the best way of protection. Find someone to teach you protection exercises where your soul can then deploy security checkpoints within the dream states. And you'll never have a problem.
I got you. All right, we're going to do a rapid questions. I'm just scrolling, see if something just pops up that I can put on the screen and call out so that you can answer it. I'll pick them here. And all right. So, one in particular, I wrote it down here, will be during channeling, if you could tell why you were visited by the reptilian. Is there something like that?
Quick shout out to two really dear friends of mine, my admin for my website and then social media, Emma, who's in Sofia, Bulgaria now. Hey, Emma, I love you. Thank you for being here. And I mean, there's a whole list here, actually, because I have a computer to my left. And I got a computer race, so I'm like reading everything. And Janelle in Edmonton, big hello. Hey, thank you for being here. Peter, Rob, Michelle, thank you for being here. So greetings to you all.
All right. So we have, what is the difference between a single and a double snake?
Yeah. If you look at double snakes, that's on some of the flags. That's on some of the Russian Federation. And let's say, so I come from the Eastern Europe, so we've always seen double flags. If you look at the snake, you'll see it in our own medical, the symbols. United Nations cares that would have nothing to do with alpha draconian beings. That would have to do strictly with the Earth reptilians and the education that Earth reptilians in those times when they work with human beings. So that snake always stayed, the power of a snake, the power of a dragon, the power of the jaw, the power of the fire. That is the real representation of the snake. The gentleman earlier, I forgot his name, who talked about the single snake in the Garden of Evil. That's a great question. My regards to that guy. Yeah, but this is all a representation of Earth reptilians' involvement, designing, creating our medical system, banking system, educational system, Roman Empire, Ottoman Empire, every other empire that ever existed. It's always been with snakes, and it's always been with dragons.
All right. So someone said,
reptilian brain. Since we all have a part of our brain called reptilian, is it possible for us to, oh, absolutely. That's actually one of the reasons why you're able to communicate with the reptilian beings in a telepathic state, or an entry point in the back of the neck. So right where the back of the neck is above the trap muscles, that is the key element, to understand that we as human beings, we have extremely powerful brain. You can ask KALASK, who even designed the brain for us, but I know the answer. And the brain itself is responsible for many things, extremely powerful. It's what makes us utilize the largest levels of our willpower, largest levels of fight or flight. If you look at UFC fighters, if you look at Roman fighters, they're not using their heart to win battles. They're using the power of the reptilian brain to connect to those aspects of strength. You see, every DNA contribution represents something. We receive love from Pleiadian contribution. We receive wisdom and pure geniusness from the Syrian contribution. From reptilians, they gave us that reptilian brain so that we can always tap into that for the ultimate levels of power. But the key element is, how do you enable the power? That's the question.
All right. We have one on screen said, which ocean gives you access to the other lands? I don't know if that's
The other lands, most likely, I think what Lavana Dean is speaking about is a topic that kind of lingers into different topics, and that is what's behind the ice wall, what's in different worlds that we don't see past Antarctica. If this is the area that this lady is going to, then I would like to say that there is no such thing as other worlds just behind some ice. There's different realms that are sharing and coexisting within our own realm where we are. As far as the oceans are concerned, I wouldn't be able to lead you to that path because I wouldn't have that information, and I don't believe in that information. The second question by God's Clove, I wonder how they view us versus the way we perceive ourselves, image perception wise. Well, God's Clove, I can answer that question, but don't take this the wrong way. Reptilians, draconians, higher evolved beings, even humanoid beings, feline beings, they see us extremely non-intelligent. They see us as emotionally spoiled. That's how they see us. So when they try to help us, we say no. When they try to come to the astral states, we try to fight them and kill them and attack them. But just because they look in a certain way, there's no need to attack that entity. Maybe they came in peace. A lot of the religious prophets that we are told to believe in, those were actually extraterrestrial. So the Vatican and the tyrants in the Vatican prior to Vatican creation, they changed all that. They're trying to separate us and divide us from our own ancestors and from our own galactic family and our own true galactic cousins and family members and everyone that belongs under the oversoul. The oversoul meaning 144,000 souls, which is the number of souls you're constantly evolving with, constantly growing with, constantly incarnating with. So the best way I can put it to you. But what types of species are beyond the ice wall? Behind the ice wall, we're crossing into another density. So Bradley Mays, dimensionally speaking, those beings would not be walking in the streets of Las Vegas or New York. And you wouldn't be walking amongst their realm. They're in a different dimensional state. They can appear to show themselves who they are. But again, you would need to either open a portal in your living room or someone needs to teach you how to create technology to open a portal for you to go there. Are there worlds there like hiding just behind the wall? No, they're not. It's not like that. Antarctica, you mentioned, it's a very old site of Anunnaki technology that's still there. And it's run by four races, and we're never going to go there. And when humans say, let me remote view into Antarctica, no, they're absolutely making it up. Because don't you think they have their own remote viewers that are not human? Of course they do. Question by Mr. Cheeberg, do the reptilian beings go into our dreams to interact with us humans? Absolutely. Every moment of every day, even during naps, this is the exact reason why we need to go into the dream states and astral states, is because certain fractals of our own consciousness want to talk to us. Certain layers of our souls want to talk to us. Certain beings that are physical in nature will drop down vibrationally and they'll want to talk to you and warn you on something or even cure your illness. Let's just word it that way. Maybe we can speak on the Patreon how medical interventions are done.
Yeah.
They can do a variety of different things, but you need to go to a fourth density at a minimum in order for them to do that. Yeah, Jen Lar, I think I actually recognize this girl's face. Is the snake symbol for Kundalini symbolic to the reptilian brain? Absolutely. And if you can just insert one more thing in there, and that's your spinal fluid. That's the road, that's the pathway, that's the freeway, that's the highway to get there to that key element. And Jen, I'd like to tell you this too, if you could research, and if we ever meet, I can tell you the answer.
She actually is one of my researchers. So
okay, try to find out what is the terminology of keys. What is the reptilian key? Key, like a key? What does that have to do with the spinal fluid? What does that have to do with certain vortex points within our body? Because once you start unlocking these keys, then you have the answer to pretty much everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I have my moderators in here, so I want to give them an opportunity. Mods, if you have a question, each one of you put it up now, and then you'll be the last of them. We're going to then get ready for our channeling session. So let me give them a second to respond, and I'll put one more up while they're giving their questions. And then here's one right here. He says, when he channels, would he be able to tell me why reptilians visit me? I can't remember and only remember the beginning and the end.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Again, hello, Emma. I know you're staying up. I love you. You're in Bulgaria. Big hello, one of my most trusted human friends in this industry. Damien, yeah. So let me explain you how this works. I don't know you, so I can't tap into your energy. I'm not some superhuman. I'm just a human like you. Can a race of beings that are channeling through a human tap into your energy instantly and tell you all about you? They can't. You see, they can't. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, they'll need to dig so deep into your consciousness and your energy that every single one of your galactic guides are going to have a very large problem with that. Your soul may not even authorize it. So imagine tonight, the KALASK says, okay, let me dig into Damien. And then they dig in with one penetration of energy. Then they see your fears. Then they see your atrocities. They see the rapes you've gone through. They've seen the murders you've committed. They've seen your love and sadnesses, all of those emotions. Your soul is going to have a very large crushing effect. And you would be crippled by the emotions. You would have a very large, almost an invasion that would happen. So this is for the most part why they don't randomly tap into people's like energies and start telling you your own secrets to use it against you. They've never seen that yet. And it's not what they do. Have you interacted with the reptilian and he allowed you to have this memory? Yeah, that's a privilege. Certainly that's something you should follow. I can teach you how to channel. I have classes and courses on channeling, but if you can keep the memory and you kept the memory, you have been given that privilege to keep that memory. Are they still occupying the tunnels under LA, California? Dear Diane Selden, that is 100% false. That is such a conspiracy theory.
I did a whole show on that.
The tunnels themselves that are under Los Angeles, the Getty Museum. I've been to the Playboy Mansion twice when I was 21 years old. So like I'm in my late 40s now. And one of the two times I was there for what's a whiskey company called Cuddy Vodka or Cuddy Whiskey, Cuddy Vodka. And I remember being there in one of the tunnels underneath the Playboy Mansion. I wanted to see it and somebody showed it to me. And then I was given a history on that. As far as tunnels, yeah, that's Earth tunnels. Those are created by human governments and human secret societies. Nothing to do with reptilians, abduction of anything. No, that's a conspiracy theory.
All right, here's another one of my mods, and then we'll get ready to move into. Okay.
Hijacking of the regression. Hijacking of the regression happens all the time because you are exposing yourself. You're opening yourself willingly with your free will. And as far as the reptilian, we don't know if it was a truly reptilian. It can be anybody, but does this hijacking of a past life regression happen? Absolutely, all the time. The arrogance, I think, sometimes by the therapist when they say nothing can touch you while you're in my office, that's ludicrous to say that. It means that you didn't have the protection, you didn't have strong beings working with you. And honestly, parasitic beings that all they do all day long is attack innocent humans. Yeah, they hit you up and they started, maybe harassing you a little bit, fiddling with your pee or anus. And that's kind of what they do because they know that sexual harassment is a very large no-no for humans. Yeah.
All right, so here's the last one. He super chatted, so I have to give him, I always promise those.
Rashad, please elaborate. What do you mean by that name?
All right, elaborate quick as you can, Rashad, so I can put it back up. All right, so like I said, we'll give him the last if he types something here. Again, I'm
Jay,
so happy.
Jay Sharp.
Yeah, Jay's been here.
He understands there's no real depth, Jay. Absolutely.
You know what? We're going to talk about that in that closed, uncensored section because I want to really go into incarnation. Right. I want to go into incarnation really deep. So we'll go into that when we do that, and more likely be on a Thursday since I'm Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that'll give my members because there's not a lot of them yet. So, man, that'll be very interesting because we can get to everybody's questions and all that. Okay, so he said, let me put this here.
Young question too, quickly while you do that. Young Chief Lacko said, does eating meat and processed food affect channeling? It doesn't. It obviously pollutes your organs and stuff, but to doing like significant detoxes, organic food, and significant levels of meditation, yeah, that can certainly raise your vibration to a degree where, yeah, you would be polluted by the agony in the meat that you've just eaten. I don't eat a lot of meat, but can it affect the channeling? No.
Yeah. All right, there is his question, and I think I'm gonna give him some little tip real quick. I don't think reptilians like to be called lizard people, do they?
Yeah, no, they don't.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah, that race or reptilians, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't. No, I'm sorry, Russia, but to compensate for your question, just email me with something and I'll respond back out of respect.
yeah, he's part of our members. So when we do that Thursday, that's the day we'll do it, and he can answer all. They can answer all the questions. All right, so let's get ready to do this channeling. I got a couple of questions I'm gonna write now. It is 10 after. You say you need about 6 minutes or whatever, and I'll just take you off screen, let you do what you do, and I'll talk to the audience and get everybody ready. And I'm excited because I got 4 or 5 questions. I will go right off the bat because we're gonna go deep. But
yeah, just if I may say, Roderick, I know you're extremely experienced and you are an expert in a lot of you. I mean, I've talked to you, but you just have to have a very open mind when talking to these beings, and they may come across as extremely rude, but they're not. They're just blunt, and everything is translated through my head. So what this means is they'll pick apart my own English vocabulary. And they're going to utilize the words that I have. They don't speak English. No one speaks English as far as ET. So they'll use the English that I have. And sometimes if there's an answer they don't want to talk to you about, they'll just give you a short answer. So just show a lot of respect and have an open mind what they're going to tell you.
We will. All right. So, all right, my brother, let me take you off screen and I'll bring you back in 6 minutes. Okay.
Yep. I'll be ready.
All right. So we're going to give him an opportunity to go ahead and get into the meditative state real quickly. Let me put this on the screen. For those of you, here it is, Patreon, Truth versus Authority. Go ahead and make sure if you want, anyway, I just loaded several more Jordan Maxwell videos up, some more 911. So it's getting full of content. But now, like I said, because of due to uncensored stuff, and it was just going to be uncensored content. Now we're going to be doing uncensored live streams there when we need to go deep in some stuff. So more likely I'll plan it for this Thursday since we are here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'll talk about it all week and give you how you can get your access. But I'll be using a system called Crowdcast for future stuff, and I think with that, all you have to do is already have had your all access membership, and when you click it, it'll let you into that live stream that we will be doing uncensored offline. So it'll be offline and you can get your questions answered. And then I'll also post notices within the Patreon community of your link to get there too as well. So I'm excited that he agreed to do that. In fact, I already got 4 or 5 people agreeing to do some things. Everyone's willing to talk offline and if they're going to go deep. So I think that's going to be really beneficial for us pretty much. And so there you go. It's up there on the screen, patreon.com/Truth versus Authority. And like I say, just once you get your access, when we do this live, you can get all your questions answered. You'll be able to ask as many as you want because, like I said, we're just starting out. So that means you can ask. We'll do him talking, and then we'll channel KALASK again, and then you'll be able to ask some questions there too, pretty much. And so I'm excited for that. For all of you to look into doing that. All right. So okay. So okay. So what we're gonna do is when he gets back, like I said, we will do some stuff, and he'll be back here in a few minutes. I'll bring him back on screen. So hopefully you get your questions. That I'm gonna read some of the ones I need to write. God, Lord, I got some I need to write down that I'm going to ask personally. And then I'm going to look to see if you have anything. I'm just going to say it out loud. If everybody's asking something, I may not see it. If you super chat it if you can, it'll stay starred up on the screen, then I can see it. But that'll be the highlighted ones. But I will pick some ones. And I'm just telling you, I'm going to go in about, let's let you know, I'm going to ask about civilization. I wrote a couple other stuff down. To really just talk about some of the myths and stuff that I'm going to ask, and I got to be direct. And I wasn't really prepared for a lot of questions. I thought y'all would have more than the ones I wanted to ask, but since y'all going to be here to witness that, then I will. I'll ask some questions there, and pretty much from there. So just wait there, and like I say, he'll be back here in about 4 minutes. and he'll get into the channeling state, and we will be ready to rock and roll, and pretty much from there. And so, yeah, I think I might be doing that too. So we will ask that question there. I'm going to ask, yeah, I'm going to ask about the royal bloodlines. Yes. I'm going to ask him about the, sources and stuff, food, energy. I got a few other things I'm going to ask. All right. So like I said, about 3 minutes, we will get him in here, 3 or 4 minutes, and we will get some stuff happening. And let me see what else. Yeah, I got a few. I'm excited. So I had a couple of them, but I couldn't really not dumb it down for me though. Just make it simple, because it was like a long question. And so it was actually, I probably the dumb one. They're probably like, man, just get to the point. He'll be like, get to the point. All right. So if y'all excited, then we will definitely do some stuff there. So remember, we're going to be talking to the reptilian from KALASK. And so therefore, that's who he's going to be channeling. And that's what's going to be happening from there, and pretty much. And like I say, I'll give another couple of minutes, and then we're going to get ready, and pretty much. And so again, if y'all putting questions now, it's a little too quick, because I'm writing some stuff down myself. So y'all better hold them, and then, like I said, don't be afraid. But anyway, if you're part of our members, don't worry about getting yours in, because, well, you can, but still, we're going to do it Thursday. Then you all will be able to just go deep, because, like I said, it will be very small, intimate, and we can just be very uncensored and everything else. So make sure y'all be ready for that. So if you are members already to that, then we will be going from there. And so let me write down. I'm not going to bring him back just yet. Let me wait a few more minutes till I get my questions going. So we will do that. Maybe we can do so. Yeah, I got some questions. What do y'all think? Okay, so y'all come on, somebody give me a couple of questions. I'm gonna write a couple of y'all's down as my questions, and if y'all ready, so your questions before don't count, because we have to scroll all the way back, so I wouldn't even know, especially if they was for him. But now we're going to be talking through him to KALASK, so y'all be ready for that, and we can pretty much. Well, don't worry about it, Clark, if you can't make it Thursday. Well, okay, well, there'll be a replay of that on censored stuff. You'll be able to see it in the Patreon, so it'll still be there for your preserve stuff. So it'll be there for you from there. Okay, so let me look here to see what we're going to be doing. All right, so yeah, I just got a couple. I'm not going to use all of my questions up, since I have the ability, and then when we do the next channeling session Thursday behind the scenes, then I got some real ones I want to go into, like some deep stuff. But again, I'll put it here on the screen. If you have not, you can go ahead and get access there to join us there as well. So that's totally up to you. So don't make it your priority unless it's just something you want to do to support that way. So just feel free, and pretty much. Yeah, let's go with. Yeah, I got a question. Yeah. Yep, I got a question there, pretty much. All right, y'all, in about 3 or 4 more minutes, I will bring him in. So y'all just get ready. And yeah, all right. So we have a star system question. That'll be a good question, Kalela. All right. So what star system are you from? I'll write that one down. And yeah, we'll write that one. And pretty much. All right, guys, in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We're gonna do this in 2 minutes. I got my thing right here. We will go from there. Look, Ducky, we'll have no politics questions, so I won't ask that specifically. You would just have to, ask our guy for that one. He'll probably be like, yeah. And yeah, so we will be kind of doing that one. All right. Okay, so in about another minute, I'll get him back in here with us, and we will get going. And yeah, I got a couple of, mine will be all in left field here and there, so I'm excited. Yeah, and pretty much, yeah. Okay, y'all, I'm getting ready to get him back in here with us. So if y'all are ready, I'm ready, and then we will go that route. So let me bring him in right as we speak. Hello, Anthony.
We are KALASK. We speak now. Roderick, are you present?
I am present.
Then we are present. Anthony's present. Your humans are present. So we all are present. Party, isn't it?
Yes, and I have a few questions, a lot of questions.
Yes, you have questions. We have questions for you too. So we'll start first. What is your interest in reptilians aside from the business acumen aspect of your own business? Why do you want to know about reptilians? What reason?
Higher knowledge, our
Knowledge,
existence.
yes. What else? You're there.
I'm here. Yes.
Knowledge. What else interests you? Must be more, no?
It's more than knowledge. It's just the answers that have never been answered about our existence, our origin, the story, the lies that has been told of in our religious systems.
Yes, and yes. Fine. Speak your questions.
My first question is demons. Give us that.
What about demons?
Do they exist? Or, yeah.
Demons is a term invented by your own religions. Your religions wanted to imprison you. Your religions wanted to make you into a slave so that they have this army of slaves and they'll be masters. Your humans, your kind especially, already were slaves once, weren't they? So now they've imprisoned you all over again. They want to tell you who you should connect to. They want to tell you who you should speak with. They want to tell you when and how you should connect and to forget the universe within you, to close your chakra points, to close everything that within you that's dimensional, multidimensional. So they want to make you into a slave. And one of those slavery lessons was to be afraid of something that doesn't exist. So now you want to know who the demons are. Easily we're labeled as demons, aren't we? We have tails, we have teeth, frightening skin, temperaments, and we are war races. We create damages and catastrophes that grace this galaxy to create new life, which there is beautiful construction and creation in. But are we really demons? We're not. The demon aspect within your own ancient civilizations to save you the time comes from a race of our own beings, a race of draconians, a race of ancient reptilians, the royalty lines, yes, but they are the war race. the true troops by the name of Demon God. And that race was a race that had horns. They were horned beings, yeah? That race had tails. That race had red eyes. And that race had skin that would be so frightening for you to experience. So when those humans at that time experienced it, along with seeing what these draconians caused to the Anunnaki beings by slaughtering them, they saw great levels of evil that was conducted, great levels of murder, great levels of genocide that was conducted, not against humans, but against those beings that attacked humans, used humans, raped humans, manipulated humans, even conducted laboratory tests against humans, and who had the audacity to speak against our races. The race of beings we sent there was Demon God. Your ancient humans who didn't know how to read or write asked, "Who are you beings?" And they stated that we're the Demon God race. And that name, then, through mistranslations of your texts and mistranslations by your religious institutions at the time that were not created yet, but yes, you see where we're going with this, changed the name to demons, demoni. To this, the humans named their children Damien and other things. So yes, the name itself is what you're afraid of. You were told to be afraid of a name called the demon, but you call it demons because they have horns. And isn't it true that your own religions today, they scare you and frighten you with that same concept? The concept, they say that if you are not a good little boy, a good little puppy, you will go to hell and burn forever, and the demons will petrify you. The satanic children and Lucifer children and demons children will be up on you, punishing you for the rest of your life. So do demons exist? They don't exist. Does Satan exist? He doesn't exist. It's a radical lie. Now, there are energies. They're non-physical energies, yes, that would exist, that would frighten you. And if they were to manifest, then you would look at them and say, wow, that is a demon. He is black. Everything's black. Skin's black. Eyes are black. Teeth are black. Nails are black. Everything is black. And because you're so petrified already of that color black, you're so petrified already of that term blackness, not referring to African American humans, because you're petrified of the term darkness, you would conclude and say that's a demon. It isn't. It's just the consciousness you shouldn't be afraid of. You're more powerful than you think.
What about hybrids? Are you all here presently, but with hybrid bloodlines between human and your kind?
Yes, our race, KALASK race, is not a hybrid race. We make hybrids. So we'll tell you some things about hybrids. Yes, hybrids race. You're a hybrid. Every one of you listening is a hybrid. This URL technology you're using, what do you call this? Internet podcast?
Yes.
Yes, podcast, video, segments, transmitting, transmissions. Everyone watching and listening is a hybrid. Human race is a hybrid race. That's all. Unfortunately for you, you experience tremendous levels of manipulation. This is why you fear us, which we'll get to in a minute. Hybrids. We create hybrid groups all the time. If we told you we have a draconian hybrid race amongst your human race, would you believe us? Most likely no, but yes, we do. We don't necessarily look at humans and say, yes, let's manipulate them. We're not the manipulators. We mean you absolutely no harm. If anything, we're your protectors. We're your distant cousins. We're your indirect bodyguards. A fleet of bodyguards, say, would be a better term. The hybrids, yes. Hybrid is a standard thing within the galaxy. Everyone hybridizes with one another. Sometimes they trade genetics. Sometimes they trade technology. Sometimes they trade each other. Sometimes they trade abducted beings. But we can't get into this conversation because what is this? Censorship reasons. So hybridization programs exist. Even you now are being hybridized by the beings of Zeta Reticuli. You call them Ya'ya. You call them Sasani and Pleyel and others. Those beings use you to create their own race. And in exchange, you get a hug. Hug. Is this enough for you? Yeah. Is this fun for you? At least we have respect not to steal your DNA because we don't need anything from you. The hybridizations was always going on, is going on, and will always go on. It is the way the universe works. Everyone trades something. Everybody wants something. And sometimes that something is DNA or genetic material. In the case of your males, that's sperm. In the case of your females, it's your eggs. And yes, this is taken all the time. It's taken all the time without you knowing, because those beings at least don't want to cause you the trauma. So they take it illegally anyway. When you cross into dream state, your astral states, we don't take none of your DNA, for the record. Also, for another record, we're breatharians. What this means is that we don't consume anything that is blood related, that is organ related, eat, drink. We do no such thing. We meditate. We connect to the source of energy, which is different than your source of energy. It's the opposite of oneness. But we mean you no harm. We take your genetic extractions, never meaning we create nothing that would be involving you or your genetic material. We're not the Anunnaki. We protected you against those parasitic scum. Yes, but the hybrid programs are existing, and they're existing right now in density layers that you cannot see for the reasons of not frightening you. And this is, we agree with. Why frighten you for no reason? There is no benefit to frightening you. We don't want our cousins frightened, and you are our cousins.
You mentioned you do not consume us for food, but do you use our energy?
Negative. Never. This is now, what do you call this? Conspiracy of conspiracy theories. Even though that term was invented by your governments, that term itself would be appropriate enough to define this. Most humans have fears. Most humans are scared and frightened of us. Why? Because they don't have the education. Why? This doesn't mean you're dumb to know the education. It means that your current teachers aren't teaching you the valuable lessons. What they do teach you is to be afraid or scared and petrified of something you know nothing about. To be afraid of us, and we're the protectors. You know how many times we protected you against your own stupid selves for blowing each other up. Your nuclear wars is what we're referring to. Wars, they're not televised. Wars that happen under your oceans. Wars that happen with weapons you cannot see because they have that cloaking technology. We don't need your energy. Now let's break down some density layers, yes? So let's build a building together here. Let's use the Legos as an example. All children use Legos. You are on the third floor. You go to bed in dream states where you go to a fourth floor. That's when you get confronted by those beings who hate you. Then, when you graduate those schools and those energies, then you go to fifth floor. This is quite physical. And at that point, you graduate to sixth floor. But it's that point of going to seventh floor. Not many beings do. We've perfected an incarnation. Do you know what this means? This means that we don't need to incarnate ever again. We have learned every lesson. We've perfected energy and consciousness. We can teach you history lessons in human psychology. We wanted to in any other race, and not just in your solar system, not just in your galaxy, not just in your universe, in every other universe, because we have that knowledge. This means that we have awareness. This means that we have the education, that we have the experience, that we fought through the wars and fought through the survival to be in the present place today, that we can exit the incarnation process or stay singular, stay in our physicality, and dominate and rule everything that we want to. Someone has to manage your galaxy, yes? Yes, we're that group of beings. We're not the only ones. Hundreds and hundreds are within our own empire. But we, none of us, take your energy so that we can survive. You need your food to survive. You need your drinks to survive. In fact, you can survive without food, but you need water. We don't need any of that to survive. We have perfected the incarnation. We have perfected the energy. We have perfected tapping into any and all source of energy, whether it's water, tree, grass, soil, physical or not physical, even a being. We don't need your little energy or you crying at night for us to feed off of and go home to our families and say, guess what I did today? I frightened a human in America. It's not what we do. You have to understand other aspects of who we are. Roderick, You have to understand our code of honor. Human beings use that term to pretty themselves up because they don't have that built within them by default. Anunnakis gave you that. Yes, they did. They did. But you have forgotten all about it and you've turned against one another. This is why to this day you'll sell your own family members for a profit. You'll kill one another. You'll lie to one another. You will not help one another with an expectation of never getting that help back. You always seek something in return. You feed off of your own energy. When you see misery, you say, ha, 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 look at that human. He lost his job. They had an abortion. They had a miscarriage. Lost a mother, lost a house, lost it to a flood or a fire, such as now in your region of California. You laugh at them. You say, I don't care because I have my own house. You see, you feed off of each other's energies, but you don't see it. You kill a pet, kill an animal, torture someone, rape someone, and you feed off of their misery, crying tears and agony. We look at you down in disgust. And for the most part, this is the reason why ETs, as you call them, extraterrestrial beings, don't wish to play with you because you don't know how to play nice or mature. Do beings feed off of your energy? Of course they do. How do you think they'll survive? How do beings in the fourth density even survive? How do deceased humans even survive? They need you to be scared. They need you to be petrified. Do you know how many of these parasitic beings pretend to be some prophets? Without mentioning names, not to offend your sensitive feelings, but they pretend to be the prophets that you worship every day, that are tattooed on your skin, that you wear around your necklaces, and you go to religious establishments to pray and worship. These are the actual projections you see by beings who wish to trick you. You say no to connection to your higher selves that Anthony mentioned earlier. He's correct in that statement. But you say yes to deities. So no, we don't feed off of your energy, nor would we respect any being that feeds off of your energy. No.
All right. My question is, why protect us? Are we property? Why protect us from who?
One moment. Hydration needed for the throat of this human. One moment. Water needed. The reason why we protect you is because you're our cousins. You are our bastard children, but you're still our children. The DNA you have within you, very small fractals, minuscule, small, tiny percentages. Every single human being has is alpha draconian, is reptilian in nature. And because of that, going back to our code of honor, we protect all of those beings, all that's alive that has our DNA. Unfortunately for you, you don't know how to be respectful. You don't know how to appreciate things. Arrogance and ignorance comes into the play. We don't mean this today in your daytime. What we mean is through the soul evolution of human beings. One of the reasons why we protect you is because if we let this world of your own get destroyed, then what will the other beings think of us? Are we good parents? The Elohim who helped you already, are they good parents? Of course they did. It is because of them and us that told the Anunnaki beings, if you don't stop the nonsense now, there will be no more of you. Because of that threat, which we meant, these beings stop manipulating and fiddling with you. So we will always protect you. Of a draconian empire, you may be afraid of. This is fine. This is normal. We don't judge you because of this. This goes to your ancestral fear, which we can educate you on. We don't judge you. Beings in your own world, your false teachers, your false prophets, your false spiritual leaders, even false channelers that don't channel to anything or anyone, but they say that they do. They tell you to hate us. But can they explain why? Can they prove the history where we have manipulated with you here on Earth? Never. You've had wars with reptilians. You've had disagreements with reptilians. You've had parting ways with reptilians. Oh, yes, you did. But they have never went out of their way to eat you all day long, as some of you think. Your religions have divided you. They've segregated you from what is sanity and what is not sanity. what is right and what is wrong, what is light and what is dark, but do you not see that within that you are told to hate something that's already 50% off you, of the fabric of you? Don't you all have darkness? Point one human in the Earth's collective that says, no, a human is either ignorant or unaware. We protect you because you have everything that we have. We just look different and we've evolved more. We can't say that you are us. No, this would be unfair to say. But you have our DNA. And by that default, we will protect you. Most humans will say, if you'll protect us, then why do you allow the wars to happen? What are some of your wars? Let us findle through this human mind. One moment. Ukraine. Israel. Two current wars. Africa's got plenty of wars, but that's not televised. It's not important enough. Palestine war, yes? Yugoslavian war, Iraq war, Afghanistan war, etc. The list goes on. We can't prevent that. We could, but it would be a catastrophe for emotional state. And what we mean is that we would come and land, yes? And then you would see these ships you've never seen before, size of Texas and Florida and California. You're located in Texas, aren't you? Imagine having a ship that size. This would not just frighten you. This would give you an instant heart attack. We don't want that. We want you to exist in peace and harmony. Yes, you're dumb enough to kill yourselves because you dislike someone else of a different skin color or a different religion, or because they have a better car, because jealousy and envy come into the play. You don't know how to control your emotions. We don't interfere with that. Can we control your interest rates at banks? No, we can't. Can we control who your next president did? They all belong to the same secret societies anyway. We can't prevent that. We could certainly intervene, yes, but we let humans do what humans want to do until you evolve naturally to a point of maturity. And then we could have some emotionally mature conversations. Perhaps you're that human. Are you? Roderick?
Yep. I got a even deeper question for you.
Let me guess. Was your Jesus real?
You don't have to guess, but I will say, if we're cousins, who created us and you?
The history of Alpha Draconian beings and the history of the Draconian Empire, the history of Alpha Draconis, the history of the Draco constellation. We're a very small constellation compared to, let's say, Andromeda, yes? The history of our origin, the history of our presence in one of the first wars, the history of our involvement with the Orion Wars, yes, or Lyra, and Capella Wars and other wars. This is a very complex subject. Due to limitation of time, we can't get into these conversations yet, but we'll tell you, we were brought to this universe. We were brought here. There are some genetic insertions and applications that were done, yes, to make us into powerful warriors. We're war races, which you already understand. And there are some genetic contributions by the avians. As far as who created you, all of us created you. We, KALASK, gave you your brain of the reptilian brain, not your other brain, filled with water. We gave you that brain. Every contribution was contributed carefully. Syrian beings, Pleiadian beings, Andromedan beings, Zeta beings, Earth's major groups, Arcturus as a star, yes, beings from there, reptilian, non-reptilian, reptilian hybrid. All these beings contributed to create a perfect human. And one mistake was made, yes, one mistake was made, but for the most part, you're a perfect, sustained system. You can cure yourself, you can function perfectly fine, you can coexist. Unfortunately, you're arrogant enough to coexist with one another, but who created you? We created you. Extraterrestrials created human beings. The evidence of this is evident. It is present. But you don't know how to read symbols. You don't know how to connect to fourth dimension. You don't know how to connect into different dimensional states where you're able to access these things. And yes, for the most part, sometimes the plant technology, or in your language, plants, they're able to take you there. Yes, they're able to give you a temporary visit to different dimensions and make you encounter different beings. They don't live within Earth's collective. Yes, you can do all these things to give you an additional education, But for the most part, you're made by extraterrestrials and you can disappear by extraterrestrials just as fast. But the alliances, the groups, even in the term you want to use, federations, equilibriums, there's syndicates of groups and beings and collectives. Nobody wants you to disappear. And sometimes you do disappear, yes, you create your own catastrophes, such as your floods, such as what religions teach you as the Noah flood, yes? The floods like that. You create those, not us. We created you, and we're going to continue to create versions of you, because this, again, has to do with hybridization program, creation, 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 energy, 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 incarnation, 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 repeat, repeat, and repeat, which is the mechanism of the universe. Incarnation over and over and over. And before anyone asks a question, if there is a way to exit the incarnation, yes, we've exited the incarnation by creating very powerful technology that no other race has. We don't mean this arrogantly. We can tell you very humbly, no other physical race, group, species within your galaxy or any other surrounding galaxy would have a technology such as our own. And we'll share something else with you, which could be a surprise to you, but we'll tell you. There is no other physical race or species within your galaxy or any other galaxy that is older in age than us. We're the oldest beings within the galaxy. And age-wise, I believe it's not important, but Anthony says that it is, because human beings look at these numbers. Human, how old are you?
I am 54.
Yes, in the 54. So now I'm going to tell you my age. The age I personally hold as a physical baby is 211,000 years of your age. We have council members within our race. I'm not a council member, but we have members within our race that are 1.2, 1.4, 1.6, and even 2.1 million years of age. This, of course, is extremely difficult to grasp, but most of the high sixth density beings are of that age. You are very young as a race, as species, extremely young and experienced. But your governments and their revived educational systems and man-made religions don't want you to know that path, just as they don't want you. What is that reptilian power within you? What is the power that lies in your spinal? What is the power that lies in your solar plex? No, they want to suppress you by petting you on your head and tell you to be nice and kind and loving and compassionate all the time, because this type of behavior and action and tendencies will be gooder for you, better for you. Is this how you become powerful? It isn't. Facing adversity and resilience and implementing all the strengths within you is how you become powerful. But this isn't the conversation for power, isn't it?
It is. It is about power, especially when we have the Vatican out of Rome, who definitely seem to worship the KALASK or reptilian race. But why the secret? Why won't they let the rest of the world know who they are worshiping and the power that they could receive from that?
I'm just going to recalibrate the energy one moment. It's easier on Anthony's system. Yes, as we were saying, first of all, Vatican doesn't worship us. If you collect everyone at your Vatican and everyone believing in that foolishness of Vatican masters, and if we watch them drown and beg for air with their hands waving in the air to be rescued, we would simply giggle and watch them drown. We have no respect for them. We have no respect for any tyrant taking advantage of any low-dimensional being. We're not your fathers, lawyers, or bodyguards. Don't think we're your boyfriends and girlfriends and here to hug you when you need to cry a shoulder on. But what we're telling you is that even we have respect for you to a degree, to care for you, to tell you how to be strong, to tell you to be empowered, to tell you not to worship. Your masses in some regions are even called worship gatherings. aren't they? Doesn't that tell you something? Don't you know already from your teachers about DNA and your epigenetic studies and those who study the ancient civilization that within you have a worshiping gene embedded? You must worship a sports team or a religion or some symbol or some place or some president, and you'll kill another human because they voted for someone else different than you did. You'll say no to your mother because your mother voted for someone you're worshiping at all times. The brands you wear, we're not going to tell you the brands. There's no need to tell you fashion brands, but the brands you wear on you, you're tagging you, they're stealing your energy. Yes, worry about those energy harvesting tactics, methods, schemes, and foolishness you believe in. Now, the royalty lines of our empire, this which you must be referring to, this is a very complex question. Who created your religions? Was it the Draconians? Was it the Reptilians? It was those that were of the Anunnaki nature. You may think one was good, one was bad. The brothers, as you call them, yes? They were not brothers. You're misinformed. They created everything that there is to imprison you. And then those that obtained that knowledge, passed that knowledge down, how you say, generation to generation, knee to knee. Knee to knee, meaning the visualization of your grandfather sitting you on his knee as a child, and he tells you a story from his childhood. This is what we mean by that, where the wisdom is shared from generation to generation. So this wisdom, manipulation, and tactics by the Anunnaki was shared by the elite at that time. They shared it with their children, and then children's children, and then children's children's children, and to this day, your elite have those secrets, how to manipulate you, how to control you, how to control everything in your society, how to be your masters and for you to be slaves. Slavery is the ultimate goal for them, not for those beings who want to teach you of your true multidimensional nature, origin. If we had a choice to be your masters, steal your energy daily, sexually abuse you, and steal your genetic material, or to sit you down and slap you and tell you to get your shit together, remove fear, replace it with strengths, so that we can finally have a mature conversation and teach you how to enable within your internal draconian and reptilian keys, powers, and every other supernatural tactic. We would use that. We would choose option B, never option A. There is no honor in manipulation. There is no honor in belittling and mocking someone. Draconian beings, of course, particularly the royalty lines, have created not just financial system or educational systems or large temple building type of traditions of empire gatherings, such as the Roman Empire, one of the greatest examples of your own human empire. Yes, we've communicated with these beings. We've told them either in a telepathic state, in an avatar state, or in a high dimensional state what to build and how to build it. And then to some, we've given them that technology. Who built Atlantis? Who built Lemuria? Who built the fascinating structures throughout your ancient past you call Tartaria? The technology was gifted to human beings. And that surviving technology was then used to create other buildings and structures for human beings to benefit. We don't want you to crawl on the floor like some lizard. You're not a crocodile. You're not a monkey. You may have hair as a monkey. You like bananas, but you're not a monkey. You're a living being with a soul, consciousness, and free will. It's time you grow up. And it is time you step up to the plate. And as you said, grab the bull by its horn and stop worshiping external concepts, some fairy tale federations, some groups of beings that you think are your boyfriends, or some religious deities. No one's coming. No one is coming to rescue you. No one's landing on your white lawns and breastas and highways to help you. We help you already. We have just prevented a nuclear war. Now you can take that term just in English, and you can guess what we mean by that. Just mean recently. We're going to continue as much as we can, but we cannot continue the arrogance within your own selves. You are your own worst enemy, not us, not insectoids, not Zetas, not Vatican, not churches, not religions. You murder and create genocide and harsh things to one another, not us. We look at that as immaturity. So grow up so that we can have conversations.
Am I a god, and do I have powers?
We do see value and we do certainly respect spiritual teachers who do tell you to empower you that you are a god, that you are a universe, that you are an infinite consciousness. Yes, this to a degree is true and it sounds great. This does empower humans, yes. God, as the word God is a term that was invented to fool you into thinking there's a singular power above you. There is no such thing above you. There are war races such as us and many other reptilian collectives that are above you when it comes to militarily. When it comes to technologically, the advanced beings, yes, of course, absolutely. Beings can stand right next to you in that little house you sit in or studio and you would not even see them, et cetera, et cetera. A million examples we give, literally a million examples. Are you a god? Well, it depends who you ask. We'd say no. You are a living being. You're a hybrid alien. You have multidimensional DNA, which, by the way, most of the beings don't have. Even us, draconians, as powerful as we are, we're powerful than any other reptilian. And if you wish to know the hierarchy, I can educate you on that. But even us, we don't have multidimensional DNA. Imagine for a moment, you get to sit there and go to a drawing board, a blueprint drawing room board, designing room board, and you are picking and choosing the DNA that you wish to install inside of you to be an incredibly powerful being. That is a human. Through the soul evolution, which you should have graduated, you graduated and evolved to a very small, tiny degree, meaning you don't know your true power. Would it be more appropriate to say there's a universe within you? That is more appropriate. That we would agree with, yes.
Do your race have gender?
Repeat the question louder.
Is there females and male within your race, or one all the same?
Yes, most of the reptilian races have a lack of females. Most of the reptilian or alpha draconian races have a lack of females. With us specifically, do we have females with your female genitalia? Yes, of course. How do you think we reproduce? For the most part, to speed things up on a larger mass scale, we use laboratory processes. We can perfect the DNA before it hatches. We can perfect it so that it has no flaws. It has no fears. It has no deficiencies. It has no sicknesses, illnesses, and diseases or worries or reservations or any form of resistances. It has no malevolence. It has no positive or love or light. It is just neutral. Once the birthing occurs or the hatching occurs, which would be appropriate term, it goes through military complex, meaning that it goes through a separation of parenting. Our children are military children. We don't have a society as you do. It's different to explain. No roads, no cars, no television sets, musical flowers, candy, or coffee. We're a rigorous, brutal society, which is a different subject altogether. We are bred to be warriors. If there is one particular comparison, it would be the toughest human soldier that ever lived. And that's the Spartans of your own time, Macedonian Greek region, yes? Then, so do we have females? Yes. Not for the purposes of having an orgasm, not for the purposes of sexual activity, oral activity, and the rest of the dumb, stupid things you do in a bedroom to one another. No, it is simply to be there for us for certain aspects, for contribution of certain aspects, which we're not going to tell you about. Majority of draconian beings are homosexual. Majority of alpha draconian beings are sexually, in a way, tied to one another. Human language calls it homosexuality. Unfortunately, within your own race, you have large prejudice against this group. We don't agree with this. Human, we speak through Anthony, has had sexual activity with both. with female reptilians and with male reptilians, but he himself is a heterosexual, a strong heterosexual. So having sexual activity with reptilians isn't something that is seen as a negative thing. Reptilians having sex with one another is not seen as a negative thing. It is seen as a brotherly thing. And in your past civilizations and your past war empires, from Roman to Spartan, to even Egyptian empires, Ottoman empires, plenty of brave warriors have had sex with one another, but you turn it around to mock one another due to that. So the females do exist, but there is a significant or immense, large lack of females in the reptilian societies. Some reptilians, I'll share with you in the conclusion, are so brutal in their mindset, so tough, so dominant, that they actually outpower mentally and psychologically the male warriors. And then these females are placed in the position of advisory. They would advise the war armies before they go into a battle. Hopefully this answers your question. While you ask the next inquiry, we're going to hydrate the throat.
My next question would be to add to that. If we were to practice what you just spoken about, human or men, women, men, women, either or, wouldn't that be the end of civilization because there would be no procreation?
What are you referring to? Homosexuality? Define the question, human.
Yes. You mentioned that through time or ancient times that it was known that men and men had relations, women and women. How would we procreate if that became the norm?
It is not meant for your race to be homosexuals, only and strictly. You must reproduce. Whatever you wish to label yourselves, whatever you wish to identify yourselves as, a tree or a male, it's irrelevant. You must reproduce. New babies come out and reproduction must occur. New souls must be inserted into those babies as souls are exiting out of the dead humans or suddenly past humans. Yes, the rotation must occur. So can you reproduce through our ways? No. You are comparing the two societies. One moment we're going to lessen down the energy within Anthony's consciousness for more of a calm answer, because the higher intense their frequency is, it is a training and more intense on his heart. You understand that we close down and shut down his heart chakra as he channels us, yes? So one moment. Yes, this is better for him, not for us, but we'll speak slow. Certain societies don't care for sex. Certain societies don't care for reproduction through a sexual way. Us, ourselves, as KALASK, we have left the sexual activity in our own third density. We don't care for sex anymore. We don't care to reproduce or to rely on sexual reproduction. We don't care for pleasantries or satisfaction that you experience in your own bedrooms and hotel rooms and other places you have sexual activity. We don't care for that. It means nothing to us. It brings us no pleasure. Humans have that. Hence why we respect all the sexual endeavors and activities that Anthony goes through or is going to go through in his own future, because we respect his privacy as he's asked us to. So our system relies on reproduction, yes, but differently. We use technology. We use birthing in your own terminology, birthing, birth giving, yes, in certain degree, in certain aspects. I'm going to give you one example so that you understand. If I personally went to the elders of my race and stated that I desire to create my own hybrid race, led by a son, then I can create the hatching of one son and a female of our own. First, we get a permission by the elders that we are even allowed to have a creation. Then, through what you would say manipulation, what we would say intervention of technology, we would be able to intervene and remove any deficiencies, and then upon birthing immediately download mentally all of the knowledge I've acquired through 211,000 years. This means that this child would be a new child, new baby, new infant, whatever you wish to call it. But this infant would have my consciousness, my wisdom, my intelligence, and my intellect. This is done in some cases, yes. Do we strictly reproduce through birthing? No. We don't need to. We have reproduced so much that we actually have left our own home. The part we didn't tell you, which isn't that relevant to your own growth, is where we live. You live on a planet. We live on a star. You know already of a place within your own galaxy you found very comforting to meditate to. Arcturus. Arcturus is a star, yes? Let's compare that. Arcturus, few hundred races. We live on Thuban. Thuban is our star. Your religions and your ancient civilizations have taught you well enough already what is Thuban. So in the history of human, we haven't relied or dependent on sexual activity, exchanges of sperm and eggs in order to reprocreate. So we have different systems. We're built differently. Your internal systems are different. It is like comparing oil and water. It is like comparing an Apple product with an Android Samsung product. It is like comparing a 10-story home with a shed, like a dog to an elephant. The size is what we mean. So we reproduce differently. Next question.
Are you saying that there are hybrids walking among us and the possibility of one of us mating with a hybrid would create what?
This would never allow to be happen. Never. There's many things, dear little human, dear friend of Anthony's, that we would never allow to occur. And by we, I want to be very specific. By we mean the collective of alpha draconian beings and the true decision makers, races that are even above us, plenty of races that are below us, races that are used as intermediators, races that are used as transporters, races that are used as message senders and message receivers, races that are used as buffers, races that are used as hybrid groups, including draconian hybrids you call Earth reptilians. Anthony didn't tell you that part earlier. We listened to what he had to say. He spoke with pride, yes, but of course it's impossible to say all of the things relating to a certain subject. So your Earth reptilians, we created for a reason. They don't come up into your nightclubs to have sexual activity so that they can get married to you and live in a white picket fence. They will come up and shift and go to a nightclub if they wish to encounter you. This is a rarity. So can they give a birthing to a hybrid draconian, hybrid reptilian baby living there? No, of course, these genetics cannot mix. Your Anunnaki mixed them already. And what happened? You tell us, or we can tell you that no, this wouldn't happen. To your question, the answer is no.
Why do the secret knowledge or esoteric or the occult all lead back to reptilian rituals, reptilian artifacts, reptilian things that show that they were here and were prominent in our development, and thus we're not hybrids?
One of the things we've noticed with you, you jump from subject to subject, and then you formulate it all into the same statement or the same question. So we would like to ask you to stick with shorter questions and stick to the point. The first part of your question is this, is not that we or any other reptilian were present. Stop using the past and just understand that you are just one of the hybrid groups presently living on Earth, which is a reality. Call that a planet, fine, all you want, and wear a t-shirt that says we live on a planet. This is fine, this is acceptable, and this is appropriate. Reptilian presence within the Earth's collective, yes, has been depicted, noted, embedded in much of your text and your minds, and most importantly, the minds. So these teachers, these specialty smart occult teachers, esoteric teachers, these historians, galactic historians, humans that read tablets, all these different humans, these geniuses, where do they get their knowledge from? Do they think it's a coincidence? First, we're going to tell you how these smart humans get their knowledge. They get their knowledge through the intervention and daily activation of their own DNA and keys, including the inserted statements, formulas, and absolute findings to what they're looking for through the astral states, dream states, and downloadable ways, which simply occurs through telepathy. Do you know how many of you humans you call prices, the Nobel Prize humans, yes? You know how many of those humans wrote their inventions and ideas literally in the same room filled with extraterrestrials? They're projecting their ideas and downloading it into those humans. Do you know how many of these? Plenty. Recently, we spoke to Anthony in one of the channel videos on his own URL channel. What do you call this? YouTube, social media, YouTube. Yes, these YouTube beings. We spoke about Nikola Tesla. And a lot of these things we stated would answer to what you were just asking. A lot of these teachers, when they seek this wisdom, when they learn this wisdom, it is someone giving them that wisdom. Let's look at symbols. Let's look at something that would depict wisdom, that would depict your ancient knowledge. Human beings will get this idea and they will take a pen and a pencil and then they will draw it on a piece of paper or whatever, even stone, or the skin of sheep in your ancient time, or the skin of dried tree in your ancient time, or papyrus trees, yes? And they will draw it there in the best way that they can by remembering what they saw in the astral states, by remembering what they saw in their dream states or meditative states, yes? And then that's two-dimensional drawing. We would give them ability to see it into 3D. They don't know it's ETs, but we do. And then they see it in their own minds as a three-dimensional object, a cube, for example. And then through the gifting of additional sources of mental and psychic network opening, they receive the ability to see it into 4D. This is how some of your crop circle patterns work. You can either see it from a helicopter as a 2D design, or you can tap into your own psychic network and see it as a 3 or 4D design. So these are called the teachers. They're obtaining their wisdom through generations and generations of wisdom that already was given to their ancestors. And through the development of their psychic network, they get more and more daily, same as you would if you connected to any race that you work with. And from what our understanding is, your human friend Anthony already told you who you work with, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
I want to know if we are reincarnated, is it possible that what I start today, let's say a journey or to build, or in a human sense, companies, can I come back or will I come back to continue that journey over and over to reach whatever that intention was, if I spoke right?
Just one moment. We need to help him with regulation of his heartbeat. One moment. Yes, you were saying, and the short answer is yes. Of course you can, and you do for the most part. Over and over. There's some beings that are incarnate who are human today. They come from different races. Yes, there are some beings that are incarnate today who are then hybridized to be more smarter, more faster, more efficient, with obtaining the knowledge not to fail at some energy lessons, but to surpass them very quickly, to be more awakened, to be more spiritual, to be more integrated, to receive the true enlightenment, etc., 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 and to receive the ascension. But that term ascension is something which is another misunderstanding within your own human collective. No, you're not going anywhere. And no ships are coming to pick you up. No external saviors are coming to teach you this ascension. You will ascend when you learn duality. That's our advice. As far as your question, it's a big yes. Of course you do. All humans do.
My other question would be for myself. I am heading down the path of reptilian knowledge. Am I encroaching on a good or bad thing?
There is no such thing as bad. There is no such thing as good. There is only neutrality. There's only, what do you call this martial arts symbol? Yang Yin. Yin Yang. We're only scooping through the symbols out of Anthony's mind. What he knows, what he's read, what he's learned, the education, that's what we can utilize to answer questions, including English vocabulary. So we can't come up with some fancy word we want to. The yin yang, yes, the good and the bad, but there's no such thing as good. There's no such thing as bad. Let's look at us for a moment, and then we're going to look at you. Are we bad? Are we good? Who do you ask? It's a different of a perception, then. It's a different perspective, isn't it? If you ask the person that only meditates to humanoid Pleiadian beings, they'll tell you that, yes, we are draconians are very bad. If you connect to a human that praises or worships religions, they'll tell you that we're the demons and the fallen angels. We're the Nephilim. We're the jinns. We're Satans and Lucifers running around stealing human energy, which is ridiculous. So it depends on the perception, depends on what you define to be bad, what you define to be good. Are we not allowed to defend our territory? Are we not allowed to defend our women and children and our elders and grandfathers and our land and rivers, which we fought so much for? And if we kill and murder our enemies in a brutal way, are we not allowed to defend ourselves? Do you not already do that? Your listeners, who here is a soldier? Plenty of soldiers and army members, isn't there? So of course you would die for your country. You would die for something you believe in. We would die for our country and the pride and honor that comes with that. You see where I'm going with this is that there is no such thing as good as bad. There's only neutrality. We can be both malevolent and benevolent, positive and negative. But then again, what is negative? You are told to use English words to label things, and we understand that you are addicted to using terms and labels. You meet someone once on a first romantic date and automatically they're your boyfriend and girlfriend. Perhaps the other person doesn't feel so. You go to a certain place where certain humans know you, and then you tell your friends, yeah, I've been going there all the time. Yes, they know me. No, they don't. They've seen you once. So human beings have different perceptions of titles and words and labels, or even events. So is it bad or is it good? This is something that we don't believe in. Evil, we don't believe in. Malevolent, we don't believe in. Positive, loving, caring, we don't believe in. These are the emotions human beings have for the most part. Other beings don't have them. So you're dabbling into something. Would you want to dabble and dance with us? Perhaps you don't know our tango yet. But are we welcoming you to tango with us? Yes, when you are ready. Remove the emotion. Remove the fears. Remove the conditioning and the programmings that race is evil, but that race is good. That is the programming itself. You are, what is this word? Compartmentalizing. You are dividing, you are segregating, you're placing brackets and fences and these large walls of division. Everything is one at the same time. You all are us and us is you. Why do you think we even want to speak to humans? You have not asked us that question. Don't you believe in your human, what is his name? Ike's theory that all of us are here to harm and hurt you just because of his own one negative experience, cowardly experience where he didn't know how to stand up for himself. Does this paint us all with the same brush? Is it fair to say that all of you humans are dumb because you can't do large equations or you can't seem to afford density? It is not. The segregation must stop. So you're dabbling into something that you want to grow, that you want to get to know more of. We applaud you for that. We see that as a prideful thing to do. A prideful action would be an appropriate term. You already work with reptilians that Anthony has educated you on So this is the avenue you should pursue. This is the avenue of guaranteed success. This is the avenue of growing strong, growing mentally strong, growing psychologically strong in our own race, in our own wars, and even with the training program training with put Anthony under, which was rigorous. It scared him to a degree where he said, fine, kill me if you meant to kill me. But we didn't. We just wanted to test him. But we tested him with this, what we're talking about. The psychological skills, the psychological warfare, the mental warfare. And he's passed, hence he's here. Otherwise, we would have cut him off a long time ago. So if you pass these tests, meaning if you can be just emotionally small, emotionally less frightful, frightening, means being frightened. We're choosing the best words. This is a path. You must enter that cave of darkness. You must enter that cave of darkness, because what you're trying to incorporate lies right there into the field and into the regions of what you're scared of.
I have another question. And that question is, what is our purpose? What wisdom, if that's such a word, that you will leave with us humans as you're here now?
What is your purpose? Most humans will get out of that question or give you a bullshit answer. Will give you a prefabricated script that they heard somewhere else. They'll tell you all the things you desire to see. They'll tell you you already are exercising and living your purpose. They will tell you that you already are living your light, and that the light has won and the God has won, and you're almost there at that ascension step. That you are there to incorporate self-love, and you're there to incorporate largest capacities of light within you, which will make you a better human. We don't agree with this. Human beings were designed this way. Yes, you had more honor. Yes, you had more pride, but we still design you to a degree to have a large capacities of storage. The storage of data, the storage of mental capacity, intelligence and intellect, wisdom, yes, knowledge, but also capacities to love. Now, we don't use that term. We don't exercise love. We show love differently. We show it through appreciation and pride and other things, which is a different conversation. But in our perspective, your purpose on earth is to graduate energy school, a school of energy, however you wish to call it, to understand that everything is energy, and to understand that energy movement, it moves, it goes through all of the barrels, and it can penetrate through any crack of any barrel. When you understand energy, you'll understand that with that, you are able to control many aspects of yourself. We're going to give you some examples. The first aspect, you are naturally able to release all that hate, rage, racism, agony, division, segregation, but also fears and phobias and resistances within you with your energy. Through spiritual steps, meditative steps, and other steps, there are some terms that humans call Kundalini awakening, spiritual awakening, yes, 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 yes. But there's many other ways that you are able to grow and to truly expand. It isn't just with love. Human beings love each other all the time. You love your pets and dogs so much you see them as family. You love your children so much you would absolutely die for them or donate a kidney to them or spinal fluid. Yes, you would do many different things, because this is the great thing about humans. You have that capacity to love. You have that capacity, yes, but you love with conditions. This is the wisdom or the knowledge or the tips, advice you lack. You need to do that with no conditions, as we love one another, or in translation, as we appreciate one another. We love with no conditions. We would die for one another instantly. No thinking about it, because it's prideful to die. Death is not the end. Death is not some scary boogeyman that hides under your own blankets or beds. So if there are large levels of advice to give you, there can be literally capacities of different fountains of advice that we could give you. So we'd like to give you several. Advice number one is, do not be petrified over reptilian beings. Because you encounter them and you see them, it doesn't mean they're there to harm you. If they wanted to harm you, they would have harmed you already before you perceived them. Perhaps they came there to help you, teach you, tell you, reveal themselves to tell you they're your galactic guide. Second, don't be afraid of the reptilianness within you, or the power of your reptilian brain. You all have reptilian DNA. Every single human has reptilian DNA. And then on top of that, you have draconian DNA. Every single one. Third part would be to connect more to your own souls, your higher selves, not to some picture you respect or worship on the wall, not to some sports athlete or someone that told you there's some prophets coming back. No one's coming back. We have full control of what's coming or exiting your reality and earth, not to mention the custodians have full authority of what's allowed to come in or not allowed to come in. And if you don't believe our words, that's fine. But you can research who placed the real quarantine over India region 7,500 years ago for a reason. It wasn't us, but it was placed there for a reason. In a way, there still is a quarantine. Everything is known at the same time, the moment it happens. And it wouldn't be allowed. No AI can attack, no nuclear war can happen, no governments can just come and kill 7 million or 7 billion humans. This would be prevented, amongst other things. So what we're telling you is to connect to your souls. Number 4 aspect will truly be, and this is a very difficult for you, but will be to try to take your 2 fingers like this, if the camera technology sees it, wherever it is, and tune down that tuning brown circular sphere button. Tune down the level of arrogance you have and pretentiousness, and perhaps certain beings will give you a chance to help you and talk to you. Other advice, without naming numbers, 5, 6, 7, and 8 would be in the same order. It would be in the same order of intensity, the same order in energy. It simply would be to tell you that stop worshiping for one, anyone and everyone. And if we were to tell you, we would tell you to immediately cancel your membership to religions, because they're not taking you to a path of enlightenment. They're literally lying to you. As well as everything else that's on the internet. You already know that the internet is filled with a lot of different disinformation and misinformation and pure disrespect against all that's reptilian, let alone draconian. So it wouldn't be possible for us to convince you, nor do we really care. We don't care to convince you. We don't care what you think, what is right or what's wrong for you. But we're telling you now, you want to start changing, then start changing your perspectives. Shift your paradigms. Shift your perspectives and stop hating a race and species you know nothing about. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be alive today. Regardless of your fraudulent channelers in your industry tell you, let us guess that the Arcturian councils of light and love and Pleiadian councils and every other council and galactic federations are here because they care about you so much. Yes, are they the ones fighting wars for you? They're not. They don't care for you. They look at you from a distance and say, that's our retarded cousin. We at least give you the respect and say, that's our bastard children. You'll never be our children. Reptilians are our children. Those that you turned your back against. Those that you call scum. And because you worship Anunnaki to a degree you call gods. There is no gods. We're not your gods. No Anunnaki is your gods. There's no such thing as that. You are your own universe. You have a universe within you. So start connecting to those aspects and pockets of energy that is sitting there locked within you. Yes, it is true that Anthony teaches, which we're not going to get into that content of his own seminars out of respect. But yes, unlocking the reptilian keys and pockets of energy locked within the solar plex is one way to truly unlock that supernatural human you desire to be. Don't listen to humans that tell you they connect to God or source when they themselves have never found true God energy within them. They've never found true source energy within them. They're like a building. They're like a building with 20 floors, 30 floors, your hotel accommodation buildings. They're so weak that a simple gust of wind will blow down that structure of that building. And you're allowing them to teach you about spirituality. You're allowing them to teach you about righteousness. You're allowing them to teach you about high dimensional layers. All due respect, humans. Not only are you wrong, but you're miserably wrong by doing that. You can do whatever you want. We tell you to stop smoking, you'll continue to smoke. But stop listening to this foolish nonsense that sounds airy-fairy. Connect for the purposes of your own growth to your own higher selves. Through them, you'll get to your extraterrestrial guides, which each human has. Without that connection, you're not talking to anybody. This probably is the best time that You ask your last question.
Actually, that was my last question because I know this takes a lot of toll on my friend Anthony, and we want to do. So
we want to now have you pay us the respect. And we're going to tell you some things for 3 minutes of your own time, and then you can disconnect listen very carefully, very patiently, and respectfully to your inquiries. We've listened to what you have to say. We've answered it to the best ability. Now we're going to answer some things that we want to tell your audience. It may not relate to your growth. It may not relate to your spirituality. It may not relate to this conversation, but it is our purpose to tell you this. Within your own existence, within your own capacity to even understand hierarchy systems of all races, reptilian beings, for the most part, either control, manage, oversee, analyze, assess, and spy on everything and anything that has to do with your Earth, that has to do with your solar system, the little galaxy you live in every other galaxy. Reptilians are the custodians. The heavy presence of reptilians back in your ancient time, then they knew this. Today, you don't know this. Now, we don't mean to scare you. We're just simply telling you for you to understand. These beings are not some demons. These snakes don't represent Satan. This is foolishness. They're your own tyrannical, religious, and other societies within your own worlds have taught you. Reptilian species rule and dominate for the most part everything that there is. You may not like to hear this. You may not want to hear this. We're just telling you. On top of that hierarchy system, amongst all the hybrid groups within the Earth, within even the hybrid groups within Mars, where we have our own base, along with Capella and other locations, amongst every other planetary system you're aware of or you don't know of yet, reptilians dominate, control, manage, and oversee those locations. And yes, there's chaos. Yes, there's chaotic energy. There's wars and disagreements. And there's always going to be wars. And wars are welcomed by us. Just as we welcome fear, just as we welcome death, we embrace it. This is what makes us fearless. Pride and honor, yes, and these things, and noble characters, and just absolute strength within our own minds and psionic capabilities and psychological capabilities and warfare. But amongst things, reptilian beings at the end of the day all have one boss. And that boss is the empire you also are under of within the same hierarchy system. We don't want to tell you that we manage you. We don't. The Alpha Draconian Empire and the races within this empire who you were told to hate for no reason, they dominate, oversee, manage, and have a very tight grip over everything. We as a race of KALASK are an ancient race. Yes, we are. We were on Earth. We understand Earth. We understand humans and your psychology and the Anunnaki aspect, and Atlantis and everything else. We are here within the Earth's presence as we were channeled approximately 80 years ago through another human in the Germany region named David. That contract was terminated for that human, and the contract of channeling, which must be a contract, it's a soul contract, was gifted and given to this human through not technology aspects, but through the abilities of a downloadable information, which eventually was converted through energy and telepathy. And also through his own sponsors of existing reptilian beings, he's tied with so closely the Theta Tauri beings. We're not the greatest friends with them, but we're not the greatest enemies. We respect one another to respect their own sponsor they brought to us, Anthony. This is why we accepted him. His exceptional intellect, his ability to pervade things or convey things or explain things with patience, dignity, respect, and grace sometimes is extremely important, especially when it comes to the explanations of anything that's draconian, because immediately you have this preconceived, what is this term? Pre-made conclusion that we are some bad guys. We're not. Through his own diplomacy and business acumen, and fascinating channeling in his own past presence, and now with our presence in his own life, we more and more will be speaking to human beings. We are not your enemy. We were never your enemy. You are your own enemy. And the KALASK race will always be represented proudly through Anthony, and Anthony will always represent our race through his own mouth. Hence, the representation that proudly already has been displayed. So we welcome each and every one of you to look at our symbol, to look at our picture, to look at even the greeting that we gave you earlier. We're going to give it to you again if you desire to connect to us. And we just may look at your energy and assist you, or at least answer your questions in those dimensional states where you can handle our appearances. At those states, yes, we may be able to do that. And now, with this last statement, we greet you in strength, we greet you in dignity, we greet you in absolute levels of pride, and we'll say to you,
All right. Do you need to have a time to kind of? All right, I'm gonna put you in the back, and we'll bring you back in about 5 minutes. All right, guys, there you have it. And give me your comments on what did you get some question answers? What did you like best of what you heard tonight? All those good things, because we, again, this was very powerful. It was very difficult to kind of see all of your questions because they were just flying. So I just really started asking a few that I could, out of my head and try to lead. But there were a few things. I was going to go down the road of soul contracts and all of those things. But I think I'm going to do that in our private session because I think that's really deep. So for those of you, again, let you know, there are some things that I could not ask because of censorship. As you know, I'm under probation. There's things I just can't do, and we've already been hit a little bit. But most of the people, and as you heard earlier, Anthony agreed that he will. So I'm gonna probably do it Thursday so we can go deep. And for those of you who have access already to the All Access Pass, make sure you get that one. The pledge is just the pledge, that's the $7, but the All Access is the $26. I'm just giving that to you out loud if you decide to do so on our Patreon. But I will say it's going to be a beautiful thing for those that are already there, because there's not many of you right now, which is cool. And that way I can really just hammer the questions that you have in that particular chat. You can ask Anthony personal questions, things that you can do in there that's unsensitive, okay, or uncensored. I'm using the word, because there was a lot of places we could have went tonight that it was pretty deep. And so I'm really glad that we got most on the outside that was handled. I will bring him back in here in a few minutes. Let me just give him time to get his personal energy back, because those channeling, of course, y'all know Courtney does it. A lot of the stuff gets really strong and powerful. But in the meantime, here it is on the screen. If you're going to support that, then we'll set it up Thursday. I'll mention it Monday, Wednesday, and then inside the Patreon, I'll put up the private link for the live that we will do uncensored. And I hope that, if it's something that you could attend or could do, feel free. And we will and maintain it, because we're going to have a lot of uncensored conversations there. And it's the best thing for us. And I'm sorry that I know it's not something everybody's going to do or even want to do. But it is necessary because of what I went through last week and the wake-up call of what's happening. And I would love to continue all day long just speaking and bringing you the stuff. But I don't, if they demonetize the channel, there is no way that I will be here, survive. I don't get enough ad revenue or never. And if they demonetize the channel, there will be none. And I don't get enough sponsorship. And so this is no longer just about you as an individual. If you feel that it's not something that is worthy of doing, and y'all may ask why creators ask for support, because this is a community funded stuff. And yeah, we're connected and we're able to bring you unique things, but it's difficult. And besides, it's not something I should even be just talking about all the time. So I'm just going to bring the value pretty much, but I'm not, I get emails all the time. Roderick, why you didn't say this? And now I get it when Lou Elizondo saying, if he told everybody the truth and go to jail, who's going to take care of his family, right? None of us would, probably, right? So I now can sentiment and understand that. So for those of you who do support me, I'm going to make sure that, even though your time is important and you're here, so I love you for that. I do love you. So don't even think I'm saying this in a negative way. But those of you who do support the other ways, I'm in love with you. Not that there's two different loves, but I am in love with you, all of you. And so I wish us the best. So let me get Anthony back in here and we will go through some things and pretty much, but like I said, this is a deep stuff because I did, like you heard him say, KALASK, but that I am going to do a lot more reptilian stuff. I got authors, we're going to go deep into it because I think it does attach all across our world, from politics to all of the myth and things that we do. And I decided just to go all in. And so it's nothing better than having Anthony here with us. So let me get him back in here. My friend, there you are. How's it going?
I see it. Hey, how are you?
Man, I know you wasn't present in all of that, but it was a tremendous experience for a lot of us. So I just want to thank you first for that. And I started worrying about your energy, and I was like, man, I need to shut this down because, 2 times you said I need to regroup for Anthony, and I was like, And then I thought about it. I was like, nah, we've been going a long time. So
what that means. I told them on a few occasions, I said, just lower down the energy. And what happens, it comes in almost imagine if you were pouring water out of a bucket onto the flowers and you're over watering. So I always tell them, just lessen the energy, because there's a large difference between channeling where you are sitting and you're connecting to, let's say, your soul, or you're connecting to a spirit, or you're connecting to an angel, or you're connecting to something. Remember, you're not exchanging the consciousness. You're not exiting the body. So literally I have this entity, which is truly how trance channeling works. Yeah. Trance channeling, you are in trance, you are exiting. So when they exit, they're trying to fit their large consciousness into a body I'm 230 pounds. I'm 5'11". So they're trying to put that and jam that in there. And what happens is because of their darkness, they have to shut down my heart chakra. This I knew from the get. So they said it's going to be very tough. It's going to be extremely difficult, but we'll help you. And through small increments, you're going to get it. Hence, it took almost over 1 year. Yeah, it took just over 1 year for me to do a public KALASK channeling where I'm able to regulate the heart, right? So that's number one. I don't know what they said. So if they helped you, great. If they offended someone, I can't control it. It is what it is, and I'm very proud. Whatever it is that they said, because just as they're proud of me, I'm proud of them. My respect to KALASK for even being here and entertaining my ideas and helping us grow, right? Yeah, and
I understood the bluntness. There was a few times, I got put in check a little bit of saying, hey, you're asking, come on now, bring this question in a little bit. But, I get it, and I understand that's the side of the emotions that we have overly emotions and the fact that, the reptilian appear to be more absolute about things. Either it is or it's not, there's not a lot of gray area. There's no gray area.
I've asked, if I may comment, why is it that a lot of these extraterrestrials, even reptilians, why can't you just show up here one night in my living room, my bedroom, let's hug it out, let's shake hands? They're like, this isn't KALASK. This goes back way years. I've been channeling for about probably 4 or 5 years, So one of the things that I was always told is, first of all, it would cripple you emotionally. You would cry so bad, you wouldn't know how to stop crying, and then you would need a psychologist the next day to even learn how to cope with life, as a psychiatrist gives you the pills to drink. You would be so emotional, you would not be able to hold your composure, right? So I deal with that in a way where it's inside of my body. And again, I know your audience is already quite smart, and I understand about your admins. You told me who your admins are, and both of my admins are channelers. So I understand, and they may understand, but some people don't. When it comes to channeling, there's a large difference. The large difference is exchanging your consciousness with an entity, or someone just connecting and saying, well, I think I'm talking to spirit. So the spirit tells me yes and no questions or things like that. That's where a lot of mistranslation happens in the third eye. And also, too, we as humans, we're the filter. So we add our own words to it. We add our own perspectives to it. Recently, I heard one of the most dumbest channelings statements ever, I think in the history of channeling, which I disagree with. And it was in November of 24. And a female, Asian female, asked the channeler a question about the United States, US elections. And she said, if Donald Trump wins, or if Kamala Harris wins, what's going to be better for us? Who's going to win, right? And the channeler, who didn't have a connection at that time to a degree that I believe he should have, he persuaded this person to think, and in his own words, as I quote, that if the male wins, then that's a destruction of the world, World War III. Gotcha. And if the female wins, you're getting open contact. And this is far from truth. And this is because there's an interference in that signal, whether that's intentional or not. And no ET will tell you who to vote for. They don't care for our election.
I figured that in pretty much. So I just thought that would be. But I think there's a few people you was asking, not you, they're talking to me, but the Patreon membership is not via YouTube. So I'm not telling you to choose that YouTube stuff, but it's outside of Patreon. And there's a pledge where, people can just pledge and help us out. And then I have one all access, and that one includes more of things that, content you won't find anywhere else. And now definitely our uncensored conversations. Like I said before, I do not, and I'm saying this, although I'm not speaking against myself, expect for everyone to do this. But for those who do, it is just my way of not just reciprocity, but just saying, hey, listen, I'm going to do my best to being able to bring things that I would like to say that I can't say out loud. Okay. And so I don't want you guys to hate me for it if it's just not something right now. But that don't mean we all are going to be in this state where we can't do it. But it is about the value that we can bring to it. And I'm hoping that it reaches you in such a way that that value and the information you could share with others verbally, just don't bring it on the air, because they're not going to let that happen. But in the meantime, Anthony, I know you do a lot of things. So tell us a little bit about first your ebook. You have a new book out, so kind of give us some information on this.
I do, absolutely. I've been writing this book on the KALASK race for about 1 year. I have originally first interacted with these Alpha Draconians, the KALASK race, in early of 2023. And this is described in the book. And like I said, I was a channeler of Theta Tauri reptilian race for a long time. So they saw that, and KALASK went to Theta and said, hey, we want to talk to this human. So when they encountered me, they said, hey, do you know who we are? Like, we want you to channel us. Are you interested? So all of these first interactions I've actually explained in the book. In the book, I covered my first interaction, my last interaction, variety of different channeled messages that I would say are extremely important to humans to understand the involvement of reptilians and extraterrestrials. But they've educated me on things I didn't even know. Like, believe it or not, they taught me about sexuality. They taught me about the power of an orgasm, the power of oral sex, the power of masturbation, the power of if a woman, let's say, that is has menopause, what blockage of the chakra does she have? If a man, who has a pre-ejaculation, you understand what I'm saying? What's the blockage in the chakra having to do with sexual activity? So they taught me a lot about things I honestly never thought reptilians would teach. But then they also taught me about some brutal things that their war races go through, how they fight wars, and how they have technology to simply take their mind, project their mind at a planet, an entire planet, and turn the planet into dust, literally wiping out a civilization. So fascinating stuff. In the book, I've also covered my early channeling stages with this main race of Theta Tauri, the true galactic family that I have. I love them with all my heart, and I've been channeling them for a long time. They taught me everything, how to be from brave and strong in life and courageous, but how to have honor at all times, And I come from a military background, so already I had that, but they definitely complemented with much more of that education. And in the book too, I've covered about 10 the most, I would say, frightening scariest and just jaw-dropping astral experiences I've had, including abductions, including an attempted rape, including an attempted genetic extraction, including an avatar insertion in a fake dream state. So an avatar inserted into a fake dream state. So by 12 beings that try to manipulate me. So I've talked to them. I've talked in the book about a lot of different things. And anyone that reads the book, it's about, we're just actually finalizing now. It's about 200 pages. It's got about 90,000 words, and it'll be available soon. We're printing now 500 copies. We sold about 380 already, or 390 or so. And I'm not doing it to make money, but I really, from the most proudness within me, want to share my own story and the beauty within meeting an extraterrestrial, and also the intensity and the benefit of meeting reptilians, and just the proudness that I've experienced by meeting them. I wanted to share that to a human that would have an open mind, that would also seek for certain same, similar results, such as yourself, Roderick, and others who I've met, who I've taught how to channel, who I've taught how to even have etiquette to speak to Alpha Draconians.
Yep.
They don't like certain words. I can tell you that. They don't like certain words at all. You don't want to say certain words with them. And in the case of a dear friend of mine, Emma, who is in Bulgaria, I taught her not just channeling, I've taught her a lot of different things, and she's one of the only 3 humans now who I've introduced to KALASK. And she draws them now freely, and actually Emma's drawings on my behalf, of course, with her permission, will be featured in the book of my experiences with KALASK. So thank her for that. I love her for that. And all my audience and your audience, of course, if you desire to buy the book, it's offered now on our website at www.kalask.ca. And you can order it now. It's $35, I think, and plus shipping. And yeah, we're going to be shipping it, I think, in my best understanding, in first week of April. So order it now. And thank you for supporting that message to come out and understand that reptilians are our friends, not our enemies.
Well, that'll be good. That'll be really good. I'll definitely get my signed copy and with my personalized message from KALASK themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll do that. Now, I know you offer services. I'm putting this up on the screen. You have a course. When you came to Dallas and you were doing some private sessions, you and I, had some time, spend some time together and eat and drink and talk and all those good stuff. So I put it on the screen here. You're kind of go over this. And for all of you need to know, all of his website, YouTube channel, all of that is in the link in the description as well. So if you don't get it here, just go down to the bottom of the video. It is all there and it'll be there. So go over this a little bit with us. And I'm going to ask for a big ask right now, Anthony. For those of the people who come to this, we're going to do it Thursday. I got the time. Thursday, we'll just say 8 o'clock, but it'll be, because I live stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we'll say Thursday. I'll put it back up right quick, but we'll say Thursday at 8. We're just going to do the private thing. And like I said, it should be a little better because there's not that many people there. So I think now, and you can just go hard, and KALASK can go hard. We're just going to go hard there. But before this, though, is it possible that we could offer? Yes, it's in the works. Is it possible that we could give people from our community something I can post in that Patreon, like a code, like maybe like a little small, it's not that many, so I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. It will be, it's your choice, but I want to offer something special to my community, to them, as we put this back up for things you offer. Is that fair, or could you do that?
Yeah, it's fair. Like, if we look at neutrality, which I decide and I choose to always be in, not fake, of course. As you know, I owe you nothing and you owe me nothing.
Right.
And the relationship that we do have is very special, and I appreciate it. I respect it. I believe in relationship bonding. You're right. I came to Dallas, Texas 2 years ago for channeling, private channeling. I do a lot of private hotel room channeling for pre-qualified and also pre-vetted individuals. So I'll know if you're a federal agent or if you truly want to learn how to channel. Yeah, it's a question away. I'll know that. So generally, I'll travel to the United States, and Roderick and I met. It was great. We hung out. It was a little bit later in the evening, you know, but this year I'm doing that through Europe. So September 2nd or 4th, I think, we're doing, not we, but myself and KALASK. So I guess that's a team we. I'll be going to Yugoslavia, Bulgaria to meet my admin. She lives there, Sofia. We're going to be going to Italy actually to film a live channeling in Rome on the creation of the Roman Empire. And then I'll be in Greece, I'll be in Serbia, and I believe Prague too. There are several different of these I'm doing through the United States as far as private channeling events are concerned. And then there are several of them that I do which are more public, where the show organizers will call me to speak. And I'm not really a big, speaker. I'm not an industry host, so I don't need to do a lot of that stuff. But I do enjoy going to certain big ones because I have a relationship with the audience in those regions, and also relationship with the organizers. And the upcoming one, which I wish to invite all of you guys, is coming up actually in less than a couple of weeks. It's in Los Angeles, California, at the LAX Hilton Hotel, February 7th to 11th. It's the first, or not?
Yeah, I have a slide for that. Yeah, I have a slide. I'll put up.
Okay, yeah, we can show that. That's great.
Before I bring that up, then I want you to just kind of, because I'm sure people are really interested. I'm gonna put this slide back up. So just go through this, what they get, what this is all about right here, and then we'll.
The course itself, yeah. So these courses I teach, they're actually extremely complex and very, very beneficial, very effective and efficient. Emma's in the chat sheet. You guys can ask her more questions on that. She's perfected this course by now. And many different people that I've met in the spiritual industry who are speakers today, who are authors, even probably out of every 10 speakers, 3 or 4 of my clients were channeling. Secret clients, of course. They don't want to say it, but they come and ask. And the channeling course itself is we speak either 4 weeks in a row, or we speak for 8 weeks in a row if your schedule allows it. If you're sick or something, we'll delay it a week. But first time we speak, I'm going to look at your energy, and I'm going to ask you some wounds in life. I'm going to ask you some traumas. You got to tell me the truth. And I'm going to write some formulas for how to get rid of that shit out of your system. And then we're going to, together, we're going to learn how to neutralize the energy, how to ground. We're going to understand chakra clearing. We're going to understand blockage removal. And then we remove the blacknesses and the third eye blockages from the third eye, which is truly what you need for channeling. And as weeks go along, I assign you homework. And then I get you into more of a semi-trance state. And eventually at the end, we're going to try together a trance state and conscience channeling. So that way you'll be able to ask yourself, your soul, a question, get yes or no answers, or then get into what I call a conscience channeling. You are going into a semi-trance state. So we do this all together. I'm with you every step of the way. You have access to me all the time through Telegram or through email. So we're like best friends for a couple of months, really. And that information is available on the main website, which is www.kalask.ca, under the courses, under the services that I offer. So that would be one example. And that's how you and I met. You're right, Roderick. That's actually a good memory. I was in Dallas, and I taught a course with 4 people.
Now, let's get into this expo, baby, in Los Angeles.
That's a big show. Yeah, that's a banging show. That's coming up in a few weeks. I'm doing 2 things here, actually. So we have a large booth. I've created a professional booth of myself representing my business of channeling with my picture in it and everything. And we're actually greeting people there and answering questions live for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A dear friend of mine who himself has very strong connections to Earth reptilians. His name is Peter, a very proud and retired Marine, United States Marine. And hopefully he's in the chat. He's going to be there with me. And we're just going to be there every day, 9 to, I think, 7 during the day, answering questions from the audience members. Last year we did this show. We had about 1,800 people come up. We had approximately 120 people show up to us speaking. But this year I'm doing something different. So the organization's asked me to do 2 things. To channel live, which is going to happen Sunday evening, February 9th at the LAX Hilton, which is the show called LA or Los Angeles Conscious Life Expo. And then I was asked to contribute my expertise of channeling and extraterrestrial involvement with Earth on a panel of additional 7 people that are on the panel who have either directly or indirectly ties with extraterrestrial beings. So it will be great to see the audience there, but also have a larger public voice, right, to educate Californians and the Los Angeles citizens, the Americans, of course, that come from those regions. or that fly from for forever. I mean, last year I had a client there from, I think, Romania, and one was from Albania. And I say this very humbly, like they come down and do a channeling with me. I mean, that goes right into my heart, and I appreciate that. And I'm very grateful and respectful for such loyalty. So yeah, I invite everybody to the 2025 LA Conscious Expo, and also to take a look at the book. The book is listed on the website, the KALASK.ca. But what I think what would most help us, as far as the few admins that run my YouTube, is we're heavily censored, and we lose a lot of
Oh my God,
subscribers, which is just ridiculous. So if your audience that resonates with me, that appreciates what I have to say, can give that a little boost, I'd appreciate it. I send you my virtual handshake. You can subscribe to the channel that I hold, which is KALASK Channeling by Anthony, and then you'll be getting free videos there. Generally, I channel about 3 to 4 times a month now, and those are all free videos. There's no charge for them. And I've already done it based on AI threat, to Nikola Tesla, to what's death, to what's incarnation, and how to use energy, not just words, when listening to someone, to detect deception. So join us on this journey of discovering not just reptilian species, but also the wonderful bridge that I'm building between humans and reptilians. And as a proud Alpha Draconian channeler, and as a proud representative of KALASK, I will always be in that position, and I take great pride in that.
Man, I appreciate you, man. And I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow afternoon, let you get some rest a little bit, and you and I'll chat it up like chaps. And but I appreciate you, my friend, and we will talk. I'll get ready to close this out and just kind of say good night to you, because you're an hour ahead. You guys, he spent some time with us, a little late where he is, and he's now in the United States, Florida area, so that's great. Again, there are some of you might want to meet him in person and have your personalized session, but there'll be a vetting process. Just let he said it already. But anyway, man, good night to you, and I will talk with you tomorrow.
Well, I want to thank you, Roderick, for your time and your energy. Most importantly, time we can't get back, right? So both matter equally.
Yeah.
I appreciate the friendship over the years. I appreciate you always standing up for me in the aspect of the Internet Collective. I want to give a personal regards to your moderators. Based on my understanding, there's a bunch of them. There's half a dozen of these wonderful ladies. Thank you to all the audience members for listening and asking questions and engaging and having an open mind. I send you my diplomacy and respect. I'm always welcoming debates at any time. And I also welcome any level of education that I can learn from the audience that comes to, reptilians and alpha draconians. Yes, next week we can get together. I will speak to KALASK and ask them if they wish to do this again. Whether they say yes or no, it's up to them, but at least I will be there, and I will give you more information that I know definitely would not be a good thing if it's mentioned right now on air. If your audience, if this is their excitement and this is their free will and this is their joy, then yeah, so let's have a little chit chat. I respect you, and I know that you respect me, and this is a great friendship that we have, and it's a wonderful thing. I think we should do, perhaps, if I may suggest something to you, if there's one suggestion I wish to suggest that we can create, which I think will be very beneficial for all of us, to create more seminars that are not necessarily Patreon, they're not necessarily YouTube memberships, they don't necessarily have to do with pay per question. But I know that you, within your own podcast, because you go back to why the big secret days.
Yes, we'll do something in Dallas. Let's do something in Dallas. Yeah, let's do that. I got my mods in here. We'll do it.
A seminar where we can incorporate the audience from Forbidden Network as well, because of Billy Carson's network, they're very often on. A lot of those viewers watch me, so it's great that we can create a universal seminar on, let's say, how to channel, or what's a soul. And many of these things that we can kind of grow together, we can bond together, but we all can benefit together. And I'll get my girl
Courtney, she's a psychic medium, and all of y'all, man, on the same stage, sugar, honey, iced tea, baby. But we'll make some personal stuff for you and I, you know what I'm saying? And then we'll do a bigger, panel, because that's the year to do it. So we're going to go ahead and make that into a plan.
Yeah.
And pretty much from there. But yeah, I can't wait to Thursday, because there's some stuff I want to say that we couldn't talk about, and we'll talk about it in that uncensored area. But anyway, man, good night to you, and we will talk. I'll give you a holler tomorrow afternoon, though.
Good night, my friend. Great seeing you.
All right, bye-bye. All right, you all heard it. Let me look in the chat. I hope y'all had a interesting eating. It wasn't like our normal Fridays, you know what I'm saying? And you know, back in the day when we did Freaky Friday, I think this is just amazing. It was just absolutely wonderful. And make sure again, go to his YouTube channel. It's in the chat, okay? I'm not the chat, but in the description. Subscribe there, and you will get a lot of knowledge, a lot of interesting information. As he does what he does, and pretty much. And again, I hope you all appreciate it. And I'm gonna give you my dear apologies. My ideal was to have you all asked a bunch of questions, but we probably had 1,000 chats come through, and I'm only limited to see like 5 or 6 over here on the screen. So if it just keeps pushing and pushing, so just don't think I ignored you and I just tried the best. But not just harping on a dead horse here, but it is a live one. You know, Thursday for you, you know, members on the all access stuff. I'm just make sure I reiterate that because I know some of you will probably see the $7, and that's just more of a contribution than me to say love you, thank you as well too, because it all means a lot, pretty much. But you know, we can write all that stuff down. Anthony can ask it. You know, I may can even bridge a call in or something. But then when we do channeling, if we are able to channel KALASK again, then we will be doing that, okay, as well, and really get it in. So I just hope y'all enjoy it tonight, learned something tonight, felt the energy tonight, got your questions answered tonight. And just as he mentioned, it was just kind of, you know, for me, a situation to say, you know, approval, that I have been doing a lot of meditation, a lot of things on really going deeper into more reptilian. That's why I asked y'all that the other day. And knowing that could it be censored, could be things I can't say, don't say, because it ties all the way back to stuff that I would like to ask from ancient bloodlines to you name it. And we would do that. And we would just kind of go from there. So we will put stuff together. We'll try to make it all work itself out. And pretty much, and again, like I said, I apologize. It was just unable to, but for the, you know, for the ones who did highlight them, that was a lot easier for me, and not because of money. It just is so big you can't ignore. So, but anyway, I love you all. I love each and every one of you, as you know, I truly do. And as always, to my haters, and if you can hate me and you don't even know me and never met me, I can still love you, and I do love you. But I may not want to meet you to love you. I can still love you from here. And then also that if you are haters and you're here constantly, you're really just a fan and you're just critical, and that's okay. Critical works. It really does. It brings the best out of a lot of people. Sometimes I ignore most of it. You know, I don't care what anybody say about me as long as it ain't the truth. So I just gotta go from there to that. But either way, again, much love to you all. And we will be back on Monday, hitting it hard, Wednesday, hitting it hard, and Friday, but yet a special Thursday coming up from there. All right, y'all. Good night to you. Kiss everyone, kiss your family, kiss the loved ones, and send much hug and love and everything else. And I appreciate it from there. And I'll see y'all on Monday. Good night to you.
Peace and harmony. I think we're being set up for something very serious and very big by some very powerful secret societies that very well could have extraterrestrial or otherworld intelligence guiding it. I am very fearful for the world we live in because we bought it hook, line, and sinker, and all over the world we have accepted the authority as truth rather than truth as the authority. It is going to require intellect, knowledge, study, and making a stand for the first time not to accept the things which your government gives you, which your religions give you, and which the authorities give you. Because as far as I'm concerned, I have a very big problem with anyone called an authority, because they're always...